The man tells the lady to give him a divorce because she knows that he loves Christy. After this, the girl simply cries and insists that she knows. In her mind, she adds that, of course, she knows this perfectly well. She wonders if this Duke Fahorn has a conscience. Ever since they got married, he's been cheating on her constantly. And he'd make out with some girls in all sorts of casinos and clubs. She'd once loved him, but now she'd spend her nights in tears. And now he asks her for a divorce by mutual consent, and the girl turns to her dear one. And he also says that if he really wants a divorce from her, then he should prepare compensation. That submissive Alice de Fahorn has fallen into eternal sleep today. Meanwhile, the man is thinking it's a good thing she agreed to the divorce. At least she won't have a headache. Well then, he thinks that, okay, it's worth paying her a little and everything will end, and therefore, this is also not bad. The Duke also asks how much she wants, and the ladies claim that she has made her contribution to this family. So shouldn't he give her at least a third of his entire estate? The man, shocked, cries out what she's talking about, and the woman understands that she won't allow herself to be mistreated again, and will also live its own life. A little while later, the girl looks out the window. She understands that this place also holds happy memories, but now she must leave. At the same moment, someone else knocks on the room, and the girl tells that person to come in. A maid comes in and addresses her mistress. This is the maid she brought with her when she got married. And Neri is the only one she can trust in this house. The maid says she needs to tell her mistress something. The girl understands that 4 years were like hell, and in this place there was no one who would stand on her side. So what would she do without Neri? The maid claims that she heard the lady was going to get a divorce, and replies that it is true, because she has already received a signature. Her interlocutor asks if she will leave from there, to which the girl replies that she will have to, and her maid says that she will go with her. Alice says that it is up to her to decide, because she does not want to force the girl to follow her. But at that very moment, the maid cries out that she will follow her mistress, because for her, there is no more important person than her. The main character thanks the maid and offers to live together when they leave there. Alice also suggests that the girl no longer call her mistress, and the maid asks, "How then?" To which the lady replies that she should call her Miss. The protagonist realizes that her name is no longer Alice de Fahorn, but Alice de Harpen again. A little while later, one of the men claims that he came on the Duke's orders to help with the division of property. When the lady takes the papers in her hands, she asks if there is definitely a third there. The man replies that everything is correct and asks if there are any problems, after which the lady asks him to explain how he calculated this. Her interlocutor claims that 30% of the family's cash deposit is there, and the girl wonders if by deposit he means cash that is in the bank. The girl also says that a third of the deposit won't work and thinks that it looks like the Duke decided to cheat. But what can she do? She's not one of those who can easily fall for such tricks. The girl claims that she clearly said that she wanted to be given a third of all the property, and the Duke agreed with this. Isn't this estate, the jewels, the gold bars, and the grain reserves in the storeroom's property? The lawyer replies yes, but says it's to assess the full value. At that moment, the lady interrupts him and insists he needn't worry about that. After all, every year she received reports on the valuation of all the property, and they reported on all these things. The main character claims that they should transfer 30% of the total value of all property to her account. But the man is horrified and claims that this is a huge amount, and to be honest, she can easily live on the money they are offering her now. The lady then turns to the lawyer and claims that it is not his plant, but how she will manage the money. Or maybe he wants her to also calculate the cost of the mines and everything that is located on the territory of the state. She thinks that this is too much, so she suggests limiting ourselves to this and closing the issue. The man immediately cries out that he needs to talk to the Duke, and the main character replies that, of course, and that it is absolutely necessary to do so. That same evening, Alice sits with a glass in her hands and realizes that they are probably racking their brains over how the modest Alice de Fahorn found out about all this. It's all about memories that they have no idea about. Because one day, she woke up in this place and saw memories of her past life. A little while later, the lady opened her eyes and realized that the day had finally come. When she's supposed to get the money. When a lady walks into a bank, who hands her the amount she asked for? The main character looks at this money with a smile on her face and claims that he probably cried crocodile tears. The lady also understands that this is retribution for his sins, and a little while later, she is already leaving the bank. The maid asks the lady where she will go now, and the lady replies that she will spend money. A little while later, one of the women greets her, and the girl states that she would like to buy a house. The employee asks how much money she is counting on, and then TDI suggests that she show everything she has first. The woman tells the madam that there is a rather expensive house, to which the girl replies that it is not important and suggests that they look first and then talk. Alice understands that there is probably no house there that she could not buy. At this time, the worker asks if she can recommend her a house like this. She points to one of them and asks if the lady wants her to connect her with the owner. The girl understands that the color and external decoration are beautiful, but the street is far from the carriage station. If the economy starts to grow, then transport will also develop. This is already good for it and is connected to it. The woman asks if she usually uses public transport, and the girl replies that no, and that she simply isn't happy with the location. Alice looks out into the street and realizes that at the moment, the public Koryaks in the Empire are mainly used by traders and healers. But in the near future, ordinary peasants will also be riding them. The girl also sees that there's a $10 billion deposit and wonders if there's a debt involved. And it turns out this mansion should be worth $10 billion less. This woman deliberately wanted to scam her. The lady then scrolls further and selects one of the houses. The woman asks if she really wants to choose that old house. But the price isn't all that low. Alice understands that the station is closer, and the better the transportation situation, the faster the house's price will rise. The girl says that yes. They suggest that they inform the owner and notify her of the results. The lady also understands that you shouldn't buy what seems beautiful now, but what has the potential to appreciate in the future. If the house is undervalued, then it will be real luck. A little while later, the maid says that downstairs she's making deals so boldly. And she didn't even suspect she had such a trait. The main character says there's nothing special about it. Alice understands that in her past life, she worked as an accountant in a large company, and she understands such calculations. The lady looks at the other noblewomen and realizes that she too could once do the same. Despite being the Duke's wife, the property did not belong to her. So she lived quite modestly, but now everything could change. The girl turns to Neri. After which, she even suggests going shopping. Her interlocutor asks if Miss really wants to go shopping. And the main character replies that they should get used to this, so let her follow her. The maid at the same moment asks if a lady can really make such unexpected decisions, and that this is so unlike her. Alice only suggests that the maid forget her old image because it no longer exists. A little while later, someone greets the Duchess, and the girl asks if the lady knows her. The woman replies that of course, she is a rather unknown person, and the girl is the wife of Duke Feiharan. She understands that this is precisely why she always had to be careful in public, but now it doesn't matter. The main character claims that she came to look at the dress, and her interlocutor will be interested in what design she is looking for. Alice asks the woman to show her all the dresses this year, to which she agrees. After which, the girl looks at these dresses and, when she puts one of them on herself, she asks Neri how she likes it. After this, the maid thinks about it and then even states that she thinks everything there is very beautiful. Alice asks if this is true, and then they'll buy everything. The stall owner says, "What a wise decision that is, madame." After which, she offers to take measurements and exclaims that the lady is so thin, and also that she has just a perfect figure. A little while later, the main character comes out in a new outfit, and the maid looks at Miss and admires her. Alice tells the woman to choose 10 different outfits for this girl, and the boutique owner exclaims that this is a great idea. The main character also claims that it seems the lady will no longer be able to call her Duchess. After all, the divorce papers have already been signed, after which the girl shows her hand without a ring. And she claims to now be Alice de Harpen. A short time later, the lady is already sitting at the table, and he asks how much money she owes, to which her interlocutor replies that it is 40 million denites, and asks if the lady wants her to send the bill to the estate. The main character replies, no, and she'll pay with a check right there. She then hands the check to the worker. And when she leaves, the woman thanks the lady for the purchase and tells her to come again. A few days later, she received a notice from the real estate agency stating that the owner wanted to sell the house. The girl immediately signed the contract, and they agreed with Neri that they would start a new life with her. A short time later, the main character finds herself at the Duke's estate. She wonders if he really wants her to hand over her position after the divorce. But he behaves like a pig until the very end. And at that very moment, the girl notices someone else. This woman asks who they have there, and she didn't even think that they would meet again in this place. The lady with red hair is named Christy Letton. This woman was the lady's husband's mistress for 2 years, and eventually became the reason for their divorce. Alice realizes she's already acting like she owns the place. After that, she completely ignores the woman. But her interlocutor says that the lady should listen, because she knows that the divorce papers have already been signed. But does she really still consider herself the Duke's wife? Alice asks what's wrong with Togo, and the woman claims that she's asking about the person. The one who is thrown out of the house with all his belongings dares to ignore the words of other people. The main character claims everything is true and they divorced. After which, she even smirks. And she claims that now her interlocutor will live with this scum, so there is no need to pester her. Christy at the same moment screams, "How dare she speak like that about the Duke?" But after this, the lady only starts laughing and wonders if her interlocutor is really thinking that a man who cheated on his wife will only be faithful to her. The red-haired lady claims that Alice's life is ruined, so she decided to say some nasty things to her as a final blow. Well, the main character replies that these are not nasty things, but warnings, although this no longer concerns her. She also tells the Duchess to be happy and leaves her. The lady realizes that she is now truly leaving this estate without regret. A little while later, the maid turns around in front of the mirror and asks the miss how she likes this dress. The main character replies that she is a beautiful maid and says that she likes it so much that she never thought she would ever wear something like that. Alice says that maybe she should try on her dresses, to which the girl replies that yes. And then they, together with the boutique owner, claim that it is simply perfect and the lady looks beautiful again from head to toe. Alice thanks them and claims that it is all thanks to her outstanding abilities. But at that very moment, the lady realizes that something is missing and turns to Madame. He also asks if she can recommend any jewelry store nearby. A little while later, the girl enters it, and one of the workers greets her. Alice asks to be shown the jewelry, agrees to something, and the maid asks the missus how much she wants to buy. The lady replies that she will buy whatever she likes. Then she asks to be shown all the jewelry. A little while later, the girl is already sitting in front of boxes of jewelry, and the man asks if she really will buy all this. The main character replies that, yes, and she would like to look at other jewelry. After which the lady sees another one of them, and claims that she wants this decoration. The shop owner points to the jewelry nearby and asks if the lady is talking about it, but the girl replies that it is nearby. At the same moment, someone else takes this decoration in his hands and claims that he will take it. Alice wonders if he should wait and see what's wrong. She then apologizes and claims she chose it first. Her interlocutor claims that he doesn't even know, and it seems to him that it was he who chose this decoration first. The main character replies that no, and that the hostess misunderstood her. But her interlocutor insists that it was the human's fault that she misunderstood the hostess. Alice understands that he is shifting the blame onto the woman and then completely understands that this jewelry will belong to her. One of the workers at this time claims that it seems that this gentleman made the choice first and that they will have to give in to him. The man asks if they see, because the owner himself confirmed, hey, the girl understands that he is probably a regular customer. But she can't contradict the master's words. The worker, meanwhile, wonders if they'll consider him hired by the master. After which the main character says, okay, so be it. Then let them give her only what she asked for before. After which the worker hands it to her, and when the lady leaves the boutique, they look again at the guy with blonde hair. Seeing his smug grin, the lady thinks how impudent he is, and she hopes that they will never see each other again. A little while later, someone screams out, how dare she burst in there, and the girl is so shameless. The man claims that he no longer wants to see people like her in his family. And the lady replies that she has no intention of living there. As her father once said, she already left this house, so how dare she return to it again? But still, a divorce happened in her life, and it would have been impolite not to visit her parents after that. The man slams his hand on the table and screams that the girl is a disgrace to their family. So what is she even talking about? The lady tells her father not to worry about her because she can take care of herself, and let him promise only one thing. Someone else looks at all this with displeasure, and the main character shakes her head and also understands that Rufina does not have to take her side. They were never friends, and it would be better for him to pretend that he doesn't know anything. The girl asks him to promise that he will not seek meetings with her no matter what happens in her life. But at that very moment, the man slaps her and screams at her to leave there and not to dare to appear in front of him again. The main character looks at him in shock and realizes that she had only one reason why she came to her parents' house. If they find out that she received monetary compensation, they will probably treat her differently, and the lady knew this. After which the girl gets up and thanks her father, and in her thoughts, thanks him for breaking off their relationship himself. When she goes outside, the maid immediately runs up to the miss with joy. But when she sees the abrasion on her face, he asks what's wrong with her cheek and if everything's okay. The main character replies that everything is fine and that she no longer has a family. Neri turns to Miss with tears in her eyes and then hugs her. Alice says that at least she has Neri, and the maid claims that she will serve Miss well. The main character replies that it's fine and suggests that they quickly go to their new house to arrange it. Alice understands that this is all nonsense, because if she breaks down now, she will not be able to endure all the trials that await her in the future. A little while later, the girl is already in the new house, and the maid asks for the mistress. How does she like this dress? The main character responds that she's beautiful and that Neri knows how to choose clothes. If there's anything else, let her say so, and they'll go buy it right away. Her interlocutor claims that when a lady talks like that, she feels like it's not really happening. But she likes it all so much, it's as if she's asleep. The main character lies down on the bed and claims she likes it too, and even wonders why she lived like this before. The girl also asks if she needs to buy anything else, and then she remembers about that piece of jewelry. Alice claims that the necklace was so beautiful, and the maid asks, is she really talking about that very necklace? She wonders if there is a second one. The main character immediately gets out of bed and screams that she can order it from some master. A little while later, the lady is in town and realizes that, after she paid the jewelry store owner 30 million denites, he told her about the jeweler who made that necklace. When the lady approaches this place, she wonders if this is really the alley with the workshops. A little while later, they knock on one of the doors, and when they open it, they wonder if the master really lives in such a place. The girl then apologizes and asks if Mr. Harley Penson is there by any chance. The man replies that there are no such people, and a little while later, they are already going from house to house asking about this man. The lady realizes that she has reached the last workshop and asks that it be him. At this time, the man asks who she is, and the lady asks if Harley Penson is there by any chance. Her interlocutor then asks her why she needs him. A little while later, they're already sitting at the table. Alice understands that he looks wary because some strangers who know his name have come to see him. The girl says that she would like to make an order because she saw the necklace he made. That's why she came there. The man asks if this is a personal order, to which the lady replies that it can be said that way. Her interlocutor says that he has not had any personal orders so far and asks what kind of product she wants. The girl replies that she wants that necklace and chain. Let him make it thin out of silver and put a large diamond in the middle. She will find the stone herself, after which the man asks, "What about the deadlines?" To which the lady replies that there are no deadlines. After all, what matters to her more is not the speed, but how artificially the necklace is made. The man then replies, "Yes, and will do everything as the lady asks." Alice asks what his usual fee is, to which the man replies that the average price is 200,000 denites, and he can make about 10 items per month. The girl is surprised by this and wonders if it's really only 200,000. She also understands that making a necklace or ring takes at least 3 days. Since he says that he never has orders, that means he only gets 2 million a month, which is too little considering his working hours. Alice asks if he can take more, to which the man replies that in that case, there might be no work at all, and then he would fall into an eternal sleep from hunger. Besides him, there are many other masters who work for the same fee. He cooperates with several companies, but no one pays more than this amount, and if he names a higher price, then he will not have an order. The main character understands that this is absurd, because she sells jewelry for several dozen times more than this amount. Jewelry stores are simply exploiting the craftsmen, and they have formed cartels for their own benefit. The girl thinks what evil people they are, after which she screams that she will give him 5 times more. Her interlocutor is surprised by this, and the lady says that in return he will make more than just this necklace. After all, she wants him to take all her orders from now on. The man asks why the lady shakes his hand, and he claims that this is the true price of his labor. A little while later, the lady is watching in her office. The girl understands that there must be a way to break this system. In the jewelry business, material is, of course, important. But the most important thing is the craftsmen themselves, because unprocessed stone is nothing special. If she raises wages and hires all the jewelers, other firms will no longer be able to exploit them. The girl understands that she will create her own monopoly, and maybe it's worth a try, because she has enough capital even if the business fails. She is already tired of just wasting money, and so she will try to do something worthwhile. Not what they tell her, but what she likes herself, and then the lady is going to head somewhere. The maid asks where Miss is going. The lady replies that she is going to do interesting things. At that moment, the maid asks the miss how her breakfast is, but she just leaves. A little while later, the girl again finds herself in the area where the jewelers live. When the man opens the door, he asks who is there, and the main character greets him. Her interlocutor asks if she has already found the stone, and the lady replies that that is not the issue. After all, she needs his help and she would like to meet with the capital's jewelers. 1 week later, the lady gathers them in one room and thanks them for coming. The girl says that they probably already heard from Mr. Penson that she gathered them all because she wanted to meet in person. The jewelers look at her a little puzzled, and the girl says that if they work together with her, she will pay them 3 million denites for 3 orders a month. In addition, for additional orders, she will pay 5 times the standard price. One of them asks if they can trust her, to which the other replies that he doesn't know and suggests listening to what she has to say. The woman says that, naturally, depending on their personal achievements, they can negotiate a pay increase. One of them at this time asks if the lady can handle this, to which she replies that, of course. And on top of that, she will pay for repairs to the workshops if necessary and buy new tools. The jewelers immediately thank her, and one of them claims that this is the first time they have been treated so well. So they'll try their best and let him try to confide in them. The girl claims she's treating them like they deserve it, that's all. After which, she asks to sign a 3-year contract. A little while later, someone knocks on the gentleman's door. The man tells him to come in, and the servant immediately tells his lordship that he has received a letter. The man asks if it is from relatives, to which he replies that, no, it is from a stranger. After which he nods. This man is Duke Roomeister. He also inquires whether this could be an investor. It would be nice if it were an influential person. When he looks at the signature, he realizes it's Alice de Harpen, the Duke's wife. The servant replies that she is no longer the Duke's wife, and the man replies that he's certainly heard about the divorce. After which he opens this letter, and when he reads it, he realizes that he thought something had happened. But it turned out to be a business proposal, and the servant asks if this is really the case, to which his interlocutor replies that it is. After all, she wants to receive supplies of stones, and besides, the price for 3 years of supplies is not that low. It's not clothes or even perfume, so he's interested in how she plans to get into jewelry making, and maybe it's worth meeting her once. A little while later, the girl screams that she succeeded, and the maid asks the miss, "What happened?" Alice wipes crumbs from her maid's mouth and insists that she wipe the crumbs from her mouth first and then speak. Neri at the same moment answers Miss that she herself is a lady and says that in general she received a response from Duke Roomeister. He owns the largest mine in the empire, and the man said he was going to meet her. Her interlocutor says how wonderful that is, because the lady thought so much before sending him the letter. So she's going to the meeting right now, to which the girl replies that she would like to, but they agreed to meet in 3 days. Her interlocutor then asks where the meeting will be, and the girl replies that she should go to his estate, since it was her initiative. Now that the answer has arrived, it seems like it's time to go somewhere after lunch. The woman asks where the lady is going, and the meeting is in 3 days. The main character replies that we need to research the market, and my interlocutor asks what that means. A little while later, Alice goes into one of the shops and states that she would like to look at the watch. The lady understands that she needs to behave naturally as usual while shopping. The girl realizes that most of the items there are necklaces, followed by rings. Alice says that they have been making such beautiful watches lately, and that many people are probably buying them, to which the woman replies that, well, they are inferior in sales to necklaces and rings. The watch is a secondary product, and the girl asks if this is true, and yet the necklace was shaved off by the most popular ones. To which her interlocutor replies that this is true, since older generation aristocrats prefer them. Alice understands that this is very useful information, and a little while later someone shouts out greeting Madam. The woman asks if there are any new pieces of jewelry, and her interlocutor replies that of course there are. And since Madame personally visits their store, they've prepared the finest jewelry in advance. The girl understands that, as the owner said, the patrons are aristocrats around 40. After which, she turns to the saleswoman and tells her to give her the product she was looking at. A little while later, the lady is already walking down the street and realizes that jewelry is usually bought by aristocrats between the ages of 40 and 50. They prefer diamonds, sapphires, and rubies. Among jewelry, necklaces rank first, followed by rings, bracelets, and watches. The girl also understands that it would be a good idea to open a private shop, and at the moment, jewelry stores use the services of distributors for the processing of precious metals, which is why the prices are so high. It is necessary to reduce distributor costs and increase personal benefits. A little while later, the maid comes into her mistress's office and asks the miss what she is writing so intently. The girl replies that she conducted market research and is now drawing up a document based on her observations, and it is something like a business plan. The maid screams that the more she looks at her mistress, the more she admires her. At this time, a man approaches one of the ladies and hands her some kind of box. She also says it's for her. The girl turns to her brother and asks what it is. The man replies that it is a birthday present, and when the girl opens the box, she screams out how beautiful it is, and it is the first time she sees such a beautiful necklace. He probably had to try hard to choose it, to which the man replies that it is natural. And he tried really hard, and even got into an argument. His sister wondered if he'd been arguing with someone, and his brother replied that some girl started saying she'd picked out the jewelry first. And she demanded to give it to him. He clearly captivated her with his charm, and the necklace went to him. His sister asks if he is talking about charm and understands that her brother is telling strange stories again. The man claims that there is no girl who could refuse him looking into his eyes. The blonde understands that for her, this man is a caring and handsome brother, but sometimes this incomprehensible self-confidence in him is alarming. The girl turns to her brother and asks if he wants to say that he took this necklace by force, to which he replies that no, and on the contrary, it was the lady who resisted and did not want to give it up. After which, his little sister says that her brother must have had a hard time. She also asks who that girl was. At this time, the guy remembers how the lady looked at him and then left completely and claims that she looked like a squirrel. In his thoughts, he adds that she is a little cute, but at the same moment his sister asks if he is really talking about a squirrel. And the guy tells her not to think about it and decides to change the subject by asking if everything has been okay with her lately. The girl replies that of course she is fine and understands what it means that she was a beautiful girl if her brother had such an expression on his face. The blonde claims that while he was gone, something happened in the empire. She points to the news and claims the Fayharn couple have divorced. The man thinks it's surprising that a divorce could occur in a ducal family with such a long history. After which, he throws down the newspaper altogether and says that more importantly, he would like to hear his sister's story. A little while later, he asks from there if the lady has arrived, and the main character gets out of the carriage. After which she approaches the Duke's office, and the servant informs that the master has a guest. The man approaches Miss Harpin and says that they haven't seen each other for a long time, and that he also received her letter. The girl claims that it is her duty to see him again and understands that he called her Miss Harpin because he may have decided to show politeness. The man claims that he replied to her in a letter that he would like to see her, and the girl says that, on the contrary, she is grateful to him for the invitation. The lady claims that she wanted to show him the business plan she had drawn up, and the man says that she had even prepared one. The girl says that she thought it would be better to show it once than to explain every detail. The man looking at this plan claims that the content is written very clearly. The main character realizes that her experience as an accountant in her past life, where she had to constantly prepare reports, helped her. He also asks if the lady wrote about the finishing workers, and asks if she has recruited a sufficient number of workers, to which she replies that she has. After which, he suggests checking the report on the craftsman's working hours, the average time it takes to make jewelry, and their hourly pay. The man claims that this is probably the lady's first experience in business, but she prepared quite carefully, after which the girl thanks him for the compliment. She also extends her contract terms and claims that she has specified the types and volumes of stone she requires, as well as the delivery times. The main character watches him read this, after which the man asks when he regrets and wants to start a business. The girl replies that she is going to hire people as soon as she receives permission from the department, and that preparation will most likely take several weeks. After which, she also turns to his lordship and asks if there are any problems with the contract. A little while later, someone comments on how great Christy is. The woman says she gave one, even though she practically did nothing. She understands that she had to spend 2 years in the role of a mistress, and this, of course, infuriated her. A little while ago, someone claimed that she was an illegitimate daughter, but she looks pretty and takes after her mother. When she grows up, she'll be the mistress of some second-class aristocrat. The girl, with tears in her eyes, realized that she too wanted a good life. I wanted to hold my head high and enjoy everything that married ladies had, but she always had to hold back her sadness. And 2 years ago, fate itself sent Duke Fayharn, who offered to live with him for the rest of his life, and it didn't matter that he was married. And now she, too, will become a lawful wife and get everything she wants. Her interlocutor asserts that now is the time for the lady. At the ball in honor of the emperor's daughter's birthday, she will be able to appear as a legal bride. The woman replies that this is true and that she is the bride. Meanwhile, the protagonist is still talking with the Duke. The man replies that there are no problems with the contract and, to be honest, he is satisfied with the proposed price. And looking at all this, his interest was awakened, but the problem was the volume of supplies. The lady is just starting this business, but the requested volume of stones is too large, and perhaps her production volumes are less than the amount of stones he is requesting. The main character realizes that she had researched the volumes of raw materials extracted in its mines in advance. The man claims that this is not the case. It is just that for such large deliveries he will have to refuse deals with other clients, and such a decision entails risks. The girl says that if she offers him better terms than other clients, he won't have to worry about them anymore, unless it's related to his moral obligation. The man replies that, naturally, it is not a matter of morality, but he has no guarantees that their deal will be long-term. Therefore, he cannot help but worry, and the main character says that in this case, he has nothing to worry about. The woman claims she not only conducted a market analysis, but also prepared a delivery estimate and even hired a staff. She's not just asking him to trust her, she's asking him to trust that the contents of her report and business plan are accurate. The man then asks if he can trust her words, to which the lady replies, "Of course." After which, he promises he won't regret it. The Duke, with a smile on his face, says what a funny lady she is. And he hadn't met such self-confident people in a long time. The man also says that everything is fine and he accepts all of Miss Harpen's conditions. The girl asks if he accepts them all unconditionally and wonders if he doesn't even try to negotiate. Her interlocutor claims that he simply decided to trust her self-confidence, and, by the way, he is a good judge of character. Alice thanks him for his trust, and the man claims that he is grateful to her. After which, they shake hands and begin signing the contract. A short while later, someone remarks that the Duke looks cheerful. The man replies that, yes, he hasn't experienced such emotions for a long time, and he also thinks that they will be good partners. There's a certain power in the sparkle in her eyes, and naturally, there's more. The butler asks what else, and his master claims he'd like to become her close friend. He doesn't care if he likes the girl. But at that very moment, his master cries out, "What is he talking about?" After all, he wants to get to know each other in terms of business and purely human relations. The palace queue then says that it is good about his master, and states that from now on, he will see her often. So let him not think anything out of place about what he's agreeing to. A short time later, the main character is at her estate, and when she cuts the roll, the maid insists that this is the same roll from the famous bakery on Piffin Street. The girl replies that this is true, because she signed a lease agreement for a store on Piffin Street. The maid asks if this is really true, and claims that jewelry stores are mostly located on another street. Alice replies that there are already a lot of regular customers there, and if she were to open another jewelry store there, she wouldn't be able to cope with the competition, although sales aren't that important to her right now. The girl claims that the most important thing for her is that customers remember her store. Aristocrats usually frequent restaurants and cafes, and this is also a place for ladies over 40 to hang out. Who are the main clients of jewelry stores, and after spending money, they feel relaxed. Therefore, there is a high probability that after a restaurant or cafe, they can continue their conversation while shopping. Her interlocutor tells the miss that this is the perfect plan, and the girl says that she will try there, and if it doesn't work out, she can always move to another place because she has a lot of money. After this, the maid asks what the mistress will name the store, and the main thing is that the heroine thinks if there is some special name. After which, the girl remembers all the moments in her life and how she cried in the duchy. Also, how she left her and bought herself a new house, and also spent fun time with Neri. After which, she claims to name the store La Via Belle. Her interlocutor asks what that means. The lady replies that this means life is beautiful. When they finish eating, the maid asks if she can bring the lady some fruit, to which she thanks her. The girl understands that she needs to think carefully about the brand, and is interested in how much more needs to be spent on opening a store. Neri replies that, to begin with, goods worth approximately 10 million denites will be needed. Interior lighting, signage, and the interior will cost 2 million. Glass turns out to be more expensive than she thought. Afterwards, the main character pats the maid on the head and thanks her. She also claims that Neri's help makes her feel even more confident. The maid also cries out that, "No, this is all the merit of the miss, and she is simply doing what she entrusted to her." The main character then looks at her maid's hands and realizes that she cannot ask Neri to do absolutely everything. After which, she takes her cape, and the girl asks where she is going down again. The main character says that there is no social package there, and when the woman asks what it is, her mistress claims that she will come soon. And then she leaves, and the maid realizes that her miss is not even tired after all this work. Walking down the street, Alice realizes that in this world it is impossible to find information on the internet, so she needs to go out and find out everything herself. A little while later, the girl asks to be given today's newspaper, and the man asks if she really wants to read the newspaper. After which he gives it to the lady, and the girl thanks him. A little while later, the main characters are already sitting at the table. She reads that ordinary workers receive about 1 million and 1.6 million, and, as she thought, they pay little and there is a lot of work. The girl also wonders if they pay a lot for a small amount of work. Her interlocutor replies that no one would refuse that, after which she also gives Miss a shoulder massage and asks if she is having trouble. The main character thanks her and claims that she is physically a little tired, but it feels like life is boiling inside her. She lived for so long and didn't know what it was like to be free, and thanks to the divorce, she now has such a wonderful life. So you should be grateful to your ex-husband. The maid then exclaims, "How can the groom talk like that?" To which she replies that it's a joke, but her interlocutor insists that such jokes aren't funny at all. The lady understands that she received a huge compensation after the divorce and began to live freely. But he has been lowering her self-esteem for so many years that she can't get all the evil he did to her out of her head. The girl realizes it's time for revenge. Sometime later, the main character suggests the maid sort it all out. She also says that Neri will write down the names of those who pass the interview in order, and it would not be a bad idea to write down a short opinion. The girl immediately agrees and tells the miss that she will carefully observe everything and write it down. At the same moment, the first candidate enters the room, and the girl greets him and asks if he has come for the interview. A little while later, they are already finishing up the interview, and the lady claims that they will contact him after the check. After which, several more candidates arrive, and when the lady says goodbye to the next one, he thanks her for coming and claims that they will report the results within a week. They also do this with a few more, and then one of them comes out and the maid tells the miss that there were already 10 people, so it seems their store is popular. She didn't even think that so many people would come, after which the main character thanks Neri and says that if it weren't for her, she would have had a hard time. At the same moment, someone else comes into the office and greets them and asks if the interview is taking place at the La Vie Belle store. The main character replies yes and tells him to come on over and sit there. The guy does just that. He understands that his clothes are a little worn out, but the guy looks like a young nobleman, and it is still very important that a person makes a good impression on visitors. The girl then asks what his name is, and when the guy mumbles something, the lady asks if he said his name is Aji. The young man replies that yes, and that's all correct. Afterwards, they conduct an interview, and a short while later, the main character thanks him. She also claims they'll report the results next week. The young man then asks if she could tell him right away. After all, he needs it urgently, and he is ready to start working even tomorrow, and will also be very grateful to the lady if she chooses him. The girl thinks how much he needs the job, that he is even ready to go out tomorrow. At this time, the maid asks him if he has any special reason, after which the guy claims that he needs money. Alice claims that she understands his situation, but first, let him return home and wait a little. At that moment, The young man rises from his seat and claims that he has more ability to be a laborer than a salesman. He also claims that he can protect the store from robbers, and when the main character looks at his strength, she is shocked. After all, fire appears in the boy's hands. The young man also says he knew it would happen and wonders if it won't work. The main character realizes that he looks like a big dog, and one could even say a puppy. The girl asks if he can first remove this light, because it seems that her employee is very scared. To which he agrees, and the girl claims that she will hire him. To which he appears and asks if this is true. To which the lady replies that yes, and offers to sign a contract. The young man immediately thanks the lady, and she claims that she is counting on him. The girl understands that not only does he have good looks, but he also has a high-level magical ability, and such a worker will be useful to them. The girl also asks if Neri can bring the contract, to which she agrees. Alice thinks that if he is a magician, he could work among the aristocrats, so she wonders what happened to him. A little while later, the girl tells him to carefully read the terms of the contract and sign it. She also asks if he worked anywhere else, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in trade. The young man replies that he has never worked anywhere, and the girl understands that perhaps he does look like a nobleman. But you can tell from him that he lives poorly, and the guy says that he has never worked. His hands are clean, you can tell. The lady hands him a contract and says she'll gradually explain his responsibilities to him. A little while later, he comes out and cries out with gratitude. The girl says they'll see each other at the store opening in 10 days. Afterwards, he closes the door, and the maid asks Miss if this man is really normal. The girl replies that she'll hire him first, and if he can't handle it, then she'll sort it out. After which she says that that's enough for today, and suggests going home, to which the maid agrees. A little while later, Neri informs the missus that a letter has arrived. When they open it, the maid asks what it says. The girl replies that it's a letter from Mr. Penson. A little while later, the girl is already looking at the items. She immediately takes Mr. Penson by the hand and claims that he is the best, because it seems to her that there is no one like him in the world. The man replies that this is not true, and when the ladies see the work of other masters, they will feel that they are also attractive in their own way, and he is not the best master. But the lady still wonders how he managed to make the jewelry so quickly, to which he replies, "The States, thanks to the good quality of the stones she sent. And thanks to the change in the environment, the atmosphere has become much more pleasant, making work more fun." He immediately bows to the lady and thanks her. The girl insists that she did what she was supposed to, and suggests that he stop bowing. Elisa says she thinks there will be a great demand for such jewelry, and she will continue to support it and provide everything necessary. The man says it will be wonderful and thanks her again. He also claims that he is happy now because the lady gave them all new hope. The girl, touched by this, turns to Mr. Penson, and he claims that this is so different from what it was before, when he tried to feed himself alone. And now he can happily think about how to make even more beautiful jewelry. The main character says that no way, and remembers how someone asked why she was so stupid. Someone else said he'd also have his eye on other girls, and it was a shame to give her the Duchess's position. In the Duke's house, she was always an outsider, like an uninvited guest no one welcomed. So she forgot that anyone could be happy because of her, and the lady now understands what that feels like. After that, she decides it's time to get started. A little while later, the girl is already in front of her store, and the maid, looking inside, asks the miss if this is a dream. Alice claims that the girl can go inside and take a look, but at the same moment, someone else addresses the mistress, and he greets her. One of them is a store employee named Celine, and the other is also an employee named Aji. The main character turns to the two and states that she is glad to see them, after which she suggests that they quickly go inside. The girl also claims that, since she is already assembled, she will tell them about the work. The lady claims that they will need to stand there, and if visitors ask, let them show them the goods. After which they stand in their stances, and the main character tells Celine that she is doing a great job of it. The girl also turns to Mr. Aji and asks if he will try too. to which he agrees. Well, when he moves forward, the maid claims that he walks like a wooden doll. The two immediately start laughing, and the main character tells Mr. Aji not to worry so much. A little while later, they are already putting away all the goods and cleaning up. Aji is trying to learn how to tie a tie. And a little while later, someone comes into the store and apologizes and asks if she can look at the jewelry. At that moment, everyone greets her with a smile on their face at the La Via Belle store. A little while later, several more visitors arrive, and they all reconcile the decorations. The woman asks if it is really real, since so many fakes have been sold lately, to which she replies that it is. After all, this necklace is made of 100% pure gold, and she can trust their store. To highlight her elegance, she recommends this classic design for summer. The main character, observing the worker, understands that experience is paying off, and her ability to deal with customers and even the tone of her voice are very calm. She quickly memorized the product information, and at that moment, another lady addressed Miss. She also said that most of the clients Celine works with buy jewelry. And how does it seem to her that success awaits them? To which the girl replies that they won't find out when the influx of buyers subsides. Usually, at the very beginning, there are a lot of customers in the stores, and the girl thinks that in any case, there is an opening effect in business. She also says that one can say that these visitors come there out of curiosity, and it will be great if this leads to constant sales. Celine claims that their owner is right, but clients praise their jewelry, and this can be taken as a positive assessment. The girl claims that she put the most beautiful jewelry on display, which were made by their masters for this, and the reaction of buyers is generally good. The woman claims that this is all thanks to the lady's unique insight, and the girl replies that she is not unique, but that their master jewelers have unique abilities. And she also turns to Neri and claims that they have no need for explosive sales, because when they are able to maintain a certain level, she will launch her brand. The maid asks what it is, and the main character replies that she will soon find out everything herself. Celine also turns to the lady and asks if Mr. Aji will come in the evening when her shift ends. The main character replies that yes, and he will come, since the guy trains so hard. A little while later, the young man greets the visitors very excitedly. The man claims that he likes the watch and asks how much it costs, to which the man simply asks if he can wait a little. The main character, watching the guy, realizes that he seems too worried, and she doesn't understand where the lights in his hands have gone. But it is not necessary that everything works out well right away, and besides, it has its own merits. The ladies almost faint when they see him smiling. One of them says it blinds her, while the other claims she would like to draw him and hang his portrait on the wall. The girl understands that some people come into the store just to look at Aji. She also wants to look at the sales for the morning, but at the same moment she hears someone asking, "Why not?" The woman insists she's asking for nothing more or less, and that he should just send her 500,000 denites. She also asks if it's really that hard. Aji doesn't even know what to answer, but at that very moment someone apologizes to the lady. The girl claims that this man is a store employee and therefore has no right to offer discounts arbitrarily. She is the store owner, so let the lady talk to her. The woman says that if she is the owner, she can give her a discount, after which the main character realizes that this is like a fight. But to convince a client, you can't take a position of utter nonsense and must be as friendly and accommodating as possible. The lady says, "Before discussing price, first, let the lady see how much this necklace emphasizes her beauty and whether this is not the most important thing." Alice understands that she needs to be distracted so that she no longer gets hung up on the price. She has a striking enough appearance and is worthy of wearing jewelry for this price. The woman then talks about a necklace that suits her appearance, and the girl understands that she needs to lower her guard with compliments. Her interlocutor claims there's some truth to these words, and the protagonist realizes she knew it all along. She also mentally thanks the marketing lectures she attended at university in her past life. However, the woman still says the price is a bit high, Elisa asks Jana what she thinks a similar necklace might cost in other stores. Her interlocutor replies that she doesn't even know, but she thinks it will be cheaper, and the girl asks if this is true. She understands that she knows that this is a lie, but if she starts translating, it will be worse. Alice claims she researched the market situation beforehand when he set his prices, so she should check again. She also says Mr. Adji will have to go to a nearby store, but the customer says that's not certain. After which the main character claims that, of course, as she said, similar jewelry can cost less in other places. However, there's a significant difference in detail between seemingly similar items, as theirs are embellished with precious stones. Let her first look at this chain, and the girl asks if she notices its distinct color. The sample there is much higher than similar products on the market, and they made great efforts to compensate for the low strength of silver, which is its disadvantage. If any problem is found with the product, they provide a guarantee for free repair for 2 years, and she will receive a warranty card upon purchase. The lady also told her to look at the stone in the center, because the lady would never see such an artificial engraving of the stone anywhere else. If she buys this jewelry, she is sure that many will envy her. The girl claims that she thinks it's a bit expensive, but isn't her beauty and fame worth it? The woman then asks how she can guarantee people's reaction, but the main character just remains silent. After which she claims that if she hears harsh criticism directed at her, or she is ashamed because of the necklace, then she will return not 500,000, but 1,000,000 denites. After which she promises this to the lady. He asks if this is true, and the main character replies that of course, because she never lies to customers. After this, her interlocutor says that it's good, and then she will buy it at her price, and the girl thanks her. And he claims that he will provide her with a warranty card, and if there are any problems, she should definitely come. After which, the main character thanks her for the purchase and tells the woman to come again. When she leaves, the girl sighs and realizes that they have overcome the first crisis. She also turns to Mr. Adji and asks if he is okay, but when she looks at the guy's face, he understands that it is full of admiration, and the girl wonders why he is looking at her like that. The young man claims that he is surprised how the lady managed to calm the picky client so easily. The girl replies that it is because she has confidence, and the guy asks if she has self-confidence, and it seems that she firmly believes in herself. But the girl replies that it would be stupid to believe in herself, after which she goes into the store and asserts that she believes in her masters. The guy says that the lady has such trust in them, and she is just an amazing girl. She just smiles. A little while later, the young man asks, what if she comes anyway and insists on a discount? To which the lady replies that this most likely will not happen. During the conversation, she observed this woman and realized that she had an overwhelming desire to present herself at her best in front of her acquaintances. When she complimented her, the woman showed weakness. And the girl claims that if she hears a lot of nice words thanks to this respect, then she will most likely think that she was right. The girl also claims that business is not just selling a product, but rather gaining the buyer's trust and the ability to change the minds of even the most discerning clients. Adji wonders what to do if the same person comes back for the book. To which the girl replies that there is no need to worry about this so much. Believe me, if their store stays afloat, this will be proof of the quality of their goods, so soon persuading customers will no longer be necessary. Adji claims that he still has a lot to learn, because the lady said that his job is to communicate with customers. Alice, watching him, realizes that this guy really does look like a big puppy, and then she asks him to teach her magic somehow. After all, she would also like to know how to make such a light, to which he agrees. At this time, the maid returns from the store and tells the miss that she has fulfilled her request. The main character says that Neri is a good girl and thanks her, and tells the maid that she also bought cookies at the most popular pastry shop on Piffin Street. The main character then asks him about having dinner together this Sunday at her place, and asks if he has any business or plans. The girl also claims that Miss Celian said that she could come, and she was wondering about Mr. Adji. The young man then replies, yes, and the lady insists that she'll cook dinner then, to which he replies, "That's excellent." Then Alice suggests they finish work for the day. A little while later, the main character returns home, and the maid notices something in the mailbox. She also contacts Miss and states that another letter arrived today. The woman also asks who it is from, and the lady notes that it is from Eugene Rumiester. A little while later, the lady gets out of the carriage, and when she passes by the restaurant window, she sees the Duke. The girl realizes he's like a drawing. But at the same time, she realizes that having such feelings for a business partner isn't entirely right. The girl also opens the door and understands that she needs to separate work and personal life. At the same moment, she enters the restaurant and greets him. The Duke wonders if she is already there and tells Miss Harpen to come through. The girl greets him and claims that the Duke has arrived early, and then claims that he has a meeting with an important person. So he should have arrived early and waited. And yet he was so grateful that the lady had made time for him. The main character says he embarrassed her, but her interlocutor insists so. He didn't know what kind of tea she liked, so he didn't order it and let her choose slowly. A little while later, the guy also claims that he heard the lady had already opened the store, although she had only recently received a delivery of stones. The girl replies that she has very capable jewelers who work quickly, so lately she hasn't even had time to sit down because she's busy. The Duke says that she is great and asks if he can come into her store sometime, to which the leader replies that of course, and she is always glad to see the Duke. But the store still has a lot of work to do, so she's even a little ashamed. The man insists he believes the store is wonderful, just like Miss Harpen herself. Alice also wonders why he suggested meeting today. Her interlocutor claims that she is, after all, a businesslike lady. Eugene states that he would like to make a proposal to Miss Harpen. The main character is silent for a while after this, and the man claims that he has another offer in addition to the supply of stones. And he asks if he is talking about another condition and understands that recently an ore vein was discovered in the mountains that belonged to their family. The problem was that the mine required too much money, and some people didn't even have one mine. And now there was a new vein. The girl understands that money is flowing like a river in this family. The man claims it's a good thing he managed to find investors. Therefore, construction of the mine will begin soon. He would like to supply the lady with the materials that will be mined there, and the main game doesn't care what these minerals are. The man replies that it's bronze, amethyst, and Afghan lapis lazuli. Alice screams in shock, wondering if he's talking about Afghan lapis lazuli. The lady wonders if it is really possible to obtain this valuable material and believes it to be Afghan lapis lazuli. This is a rather rare and valuable stone, rare in the world. Even among high society individuals, few would have one in their collection. At this time, the man replies that, yes, if the lady needs such stones, he would like to be involved in a permanent supply. Alice claims that she will only be grateful to him and understands that she was just thinking about where to get other stones, and he offers her such rare ones. And the man, a little sheepishly, claims he has something else. A little while later, the lady is brought the dessert she ordered. The girl claims that he said here that he had some other business with her. Her interlocutor asks if she understands that his request might not seem entirely simple, and the girl asks what kind of request it is. Her interlocutor replies that a ball is planned soon in the royal castle and the princess's birthday is approaching. The lady asks if this is true, after which her interlocutors are even interested in whether she could go with him as his partner. The girl is shocked and wonders if she misheard, but when she looks at his face, she realizes that he is completely serious. Eugene claims that he was invited to the ball, but there is no one to keep him company. Well, if the lady is busy, then nothing can be done, although it would be great if she found time for just one evening. The main character replies that the problem is not in time, and if he goes with her, he is unlikely to hear flattering reviews because he knows about her divorce from Duke Feharen. The girl understands that she is well aware of her reputation in high society after the divorce, and if she goes with him, this guy's honor will be tarnished, and unpleasant rumors may start spreading about him. This cannot be allowed. Wherever she appears, she will hear whispering behind her back, but she cannot hide all the time. Eugene claims that he doesn't care what others say, and that he has no right to discuss her divorce. He just wants the lady to go to the ball with him, and in his greatest passion, he thinks that this is true because, from the very beginning, the Duke had no warnings about her. He does not refer to her as the Duke's ex-wife or as a divorced woman. And as for Alice Harpin, he always did it sincerely. The man claims that, especially for the gemstone business, the approval of high society is very important, and spreading word of her products. So he thinks it's a great opportunity, and the lady claims he's right. Everyone will ask the lady where she got all this jewelry and how beautiful it is. The girl understands that since she's in the jewelry business, she needs to attract the attention of markets interested in selling jewelry or the wives of influential dukes. And before them, she should not be the ex-wife of Duke Feharen, but Alice Harpin, the owner of a jewelry store who will win their hearts. After which, the main character says that she will go with the Duke and understands that with him, she will be able to change her image of a pathetic and inconspicuous divorced woman. Eugene thanks the lady, and the girl, with a smile on her face, claims that it was he who treated her so kindly, so she knows that he believes in her. The man says he'll pick her up next week. A little while later, a servant asks the Duke if he'll go with the lady to pick up the money. Eugene replies that yes, and that's how it happened. His interlocutor asks if the gentleman really says that he will go to the floor, which he didn't even intend to go to. The servant also thinks that it was no one but the Duke himself who first offered the lady to accompany him to the ball. And yet, the butler asks the gentleman if he likes this lady. The man merely tries to hit his butler and claims he simply wants to get to know her a little better, that's all. His interlocutor cleverly evades this and claims that if she is an ordinary business partner, then why would he need this? His master claims that it is simple curiosity, and the servant claims that curiosity is too strong. And has he ever met someone out of curiosity? Eugene just tells him to shut up, after which he stretches out and understands that the offer to become his partner was a bit shocking since they had only met twice. He also thinks that this lady has such a sparkle in her eyes, and when she talks, she looks so sweet. He himself did not understand how these words flew out of his mouth, and at the same moment, the butler asked when the master was planning the wedding. Well, his master just tells him to stop joking and get to work. At that very moment, the man also gets up from the table and walks off somewhere. From the meadow, he asks where he is going, and the Duke insists that he is going for a walk and will come soon. When he comes out, the butler claims that the master definitely likes her, and there is no doubt about it. A little while later, the maid cooks and tells the miss that it is a real success. The main character says that Neri is a good boy, and a little while later, guests come to visit them. Neri greets them, and the main character thanks them for coming. Celine asks the lady if she really prepared all this for them, but she has never even tried such treats on her birthday. The girl claims that they don't deserve such treatment, and the main character replies that of course they do. And next time, she will treat them to even more delicious food. After which, the maid claims that she did not think that she would ever be able to try such meat. At this time, the guy notices the expensive wine and claims that he hasn't drunk it for a long time. The maid asks him what he's talking about, since it's the first time she's tried this kind of wine, and it seems like Mr. Agee knows a thing or two about them, to which the guy replies that he just happened to try it once. At this time, the main character says that the food will get cold, so she suggests that they all sit down quickly. When they sit down, the lady states that this is their first dinner together for the sake of the prosperity of their store, after which she proposes to raise a toast. To which they respond that it's great and clink glasses. It doesn't take long for the girl to tell her story. Agee says that it was not easy for her, and Celine claims that the lady is really great. The girl claims that there is nothing to be proud of, and she simply thought that she had no reason to hide her story from them, especially since Neri is with her now, and she's actually very happy. The maid then turns to Minos and claims that she too is very happy to be with her. Alice thanks Neri, and Celine says that she is so pleased to see their friendship. Meanwhile, Agee watches them silently. Celine claims that her father was once seriously injured. She worked so hard to feed him, and it seems to her that there is no job that she would not try. And so, she came to the lady's shop. The main character says that Miss Celine also had a hard time, and thanks her for sharing with them. The girl also asks Mr. Aji what about him, but the guy only asks if she can tell him next time. Alice says that if he doesn't want to, he doesn't have to say anything, and suggests that he do it the way that's most convenient for him. The guy then thanks the lady, but she replies that it's nothing, and claims it's his right not to discuss topics he doesn't want to touch on. On the contrary, it was her fault for asking without thinking. The lady realizes that she was so impressed by Duke Rumiester's delicacy when she told him her story, and now she herself has shown carelessness. At this point, the maid decides to change the subject and claims that they have good news. The main character claims that the Duke will now additionally supply them with very rare stones, and the maid adds that their mistress will also go to the ball in honor of the princess's birthday. Aji says it's truly very joyful, and he congratulates her on the news. Celine wonders if the lady will go to the royal palace, and the person who connected also congratulates her. The main character claims that Duke Rumiester asked her to accompany him, and she thought it was a good chance to tell other people about their store. So she won't be able to go to work that day, and they'll have to meet and serve customers together. The guy immediately replies that he'll do everything in his power, and Celine tells her not to worry about anything. The main character thanks the two and claims that she is now at peace. A short time later, the day of the ball finally arrived. A woman walks into one of the salons, and a worker greets her immediately. Another worker also greets the woman but doesn't know how to address her. The main character says that they haven't seen each other for a long time, and tells the girl to now call her Alice de Harpen. When she sits down at the chair, the worker asks what kind of hairstyle the lady wants. The girl asks what's fashionable now, and understands that in order to run a jewelry business without connections, she needs to present herself as someone who understands fashion. Her interlocutor claims that she'll give her hair large waves, which are very popular now. They'll accentuate her elegance and suit her perfectly. The main character replies that it's fine, after which she tells the lady to make her another nourishing mask, because she will pay any amount. The lady understands that it would be better to show not only style, but also a well-groomed appearance. Her interlocutor agrees and tells the mistress not to worry and to wait a bit. When she gives the Summer Society magazine, the main characters understand that it is a fashion magazine. She needs to see if their jewelry will match their fashionable dress and shoes. At this time, the worker suggests to begin and begins to style the lady's hair, and a little while later she states that everything is ready. The main character looks at her reflection, and her interlocutor says that the lady looks beautiful. Alice claims that today she does everything that is fashionable, and her interlocutor claims that this is true because she has not yet seen anyone who would not like this. The girl says it's all thanks to the lady's abilities, and if it weren't for her, who else would have been able to create such a hairstyle? The girl claims she's so embarrassed by the lady's words. Well, the main character wonders if this isn't true, since in her opinion she is the best hairdresser in the world. Alice understands that usually rich ladies are very stingy with praise, and if she is the first to praise this girl, she will be more attentive to her, at least as a sign of gratitude. At this time, the girl is wondering what kind of necklace Our Lady has. It's so icy beautiful, and she's wondering where she bought it. The main character then smiles and claims that she is in the La Vie Belle store. Her interlocutor claims that she is hearing about this store for the first time, and the main character claims that this is her store. The hairdresser asks if the lady has her own shop, to which the girl replies that, yes. And to be honest, she recently started selling jewelry, and if she's interested, then let the girl come to her store to look at the goods. Her interlocutor claims that it is good and it is really very beautiful, so she will come. Alice understands that she seems to like her jewelry, and this is natural because she spent so long choosing it. After which, the girl also hands the lady something, but when she asks what it is, the main character claims that it contains the address and opening hours of the store. Alice understands that there is nothing like this in this world yet. Business cards are the basis of advertising. The woman says what a beautiful drawing it is and asks if it is a swan, to which the girl replies that it is correct, because it is the logo of their brand and it symbolizes beauty and elegance. The hairdresser asks what the logo is, and her interlocutor claims that it is some kind of drawing that expresses the essence of the store. The girl claims that thanks to Lady Harpin, she learned so much today, and therefore will definitely visit her store. The main character thanks her and claims that if the lady decides to buy something, she will give a discount especially for her. The hairdresser asks if this is true and says the lady is being so kind, but wonders if it will affect business. Alice replies that of course she won't. It's gratitude for the girl always styling her hair beautifully, but she should just keep the discount to herself. But Something agrees and claims that the lady promised a discount only to her, after which she thanks the lady. The main character understands that there are reasons for serving VIP clients. Many socialites come to Miss Jackie's hair salon. While she's working on her client's hair, casual conversation ensues. They mostly talk about fashion and hairstyles, and the girl thinks that if she speaks positively about their store during these short conversations, this is the beginning of word-of-mouth marketing. The hairdresser claims that she will advertise the lady's shop to honorable ladies, and the main character thanks her, although she says that this is not at all necessary. The girl understands that in such moments it is important to show a restrained reaction so as not to look like a saleswoman. And when she hands over the payment for the styling, the girl claims that she gave too much, and the main character claims that it is a tip, so she should not refuse and accept it. Alice understands that if she pays a generous extra fee, it will be an excellent way to win the favor of the service staff. When she leaves, the girl thanks her, and the main character thinks that it's not worth regretting a small investment in her image. A little while later, the girl sees a carriage driving up to her house, after which the Duke gets out of it. When a man sees Miss Harpin, he says with a smile on his face that she is already there. The girl thanks the Duke for coming, and he claims that the lady looks wonderful today. Alice claims that since he thinks so, it is reassuring, and to be honest, she was very worried. The man says that, in his opinion, the lady today is the most beautiful lady of all, and that is true. Alice wonders how he figured this out, and her interlocutor says that if she's interested, she can check it out personally. After which, he offers to go with her, to which the lady agrees. A short time later, the man is already exiting the carriage. When the main character is also about to leave, the Duke tells Miss Harpin to hold his hand. The girl realizes that for the first time she went to a ball holding the hand of a man who was not her husband. She didn't even realize that her husband was trash that couldn't be recycled anymore. She was simply happy to be able to hold the hand of the man she loved. A little while ago, when she was getting out of the carriage, the man simply asked what she was doing there. And this guy tells the lady not to rush, and the girl understands that now everything is different. When she leaves, she understands that now she has to get used to this kind of treatment. At this time, the Duke invites her to go, and the ladies answer that yes, and they can also go inside. A little while later, someone whispers whether this woman is the wife of Duke Feharen, and another claims that he divorced her. And when the Duke turns to the lady, she replies that everything is fine and understands that she was prepared for this. When she arrived there, everything turned out not to be so bad, and when they went inside, the aristocrats asked what all this was going on. And what does the Duke do with such a woman? Eugene turns to the lady and says that if she feels uncomfortable, she should tell him. The girl realizes she needs to pull herself together, as her goal today is to show off her jewelry. She needs to make sure her necklace, earrings, and brooch are clearly visible. After which, the lady tells the Duke that she is fine because everyone has already started dancing. The man realizes that this lady is amazing, and then he takes the lady by the hands. He claims he practiced at home for this day. The girl asks if he was actually practicing the dance, and her interlocutor replies that, of course, after all, he came there with such a beautiful lady, so he had to prepare fully. He also asks if the lady would like to dance with him. The main character's ex-husband then turns to his row and offers to dance. Christy agrees to this, But at the same moment, someone says to look at these two. How they suit each other, and Christy says that it looks like there is some kind of funny spectacle there, so she goes to see it. Well, when she comes closer, she thinks what this woman is doing there and why she is with Duke Rumiester. The woman thinks how she managed to hook him and when. But she thought that she was walking around and didn't even dare raise her face. At the same moment, her future husband asks what Christy is staring at, and the woman tries to block his view and says that it is impossible. Afterwards, the man sees his ex-wife dancing with another man. Christy suggests he go somewhere else. Well, the man just pushes this girl away and, looking at the main character, thinks, was this woman really that beautiful? And what was she doing with Duke Rumiester? Christy immediately cries out to the Duke and asks who he's looking at so intently. The man claims it's strange, as he's never seen Duke Rumiester with ladies. And it's just so unusual, so he doubts it. Christy claims that this woman is acting out of her mind, and she dared to seduce an unmarried duke. The man replies that this is true, and realizes that he forgot for a minute that she dug up a third of his property. Christy insists that there is no point in paying attention to this woman and offers to dance, to which her interlocutor agrees. He also understands that there are a lot of women around, so he won't waste his time on her. Meanwhile, someone else is watching them from the balcony. When the dance ends, the Duke asks the lady if she enjoyed it. And the main character says that she didn't know that the Duke dances so well, and that he's just great. The man claims that he is glad if she liked it, and asks if she would like to dance again, to which the girl replies that she doesn't even know, because she is a little thirsty. Then the guy invites her to have a glass together, and when they approach the counter, at that very moment, someone turns to Eugene. The man also sees the main character and she introduces herself, after which Milburn says that he is pleased to meet her. He also wonders if he can steal Eugene for a while, since he hasn't seen him for so long. Alice replies that of course, and tells the Duke that she can drink alone, so let him go ahead. The girl also thinks that she needs to be alone for a while, and during the dance, she felt how many eyes were focused on her jewelry. So it's time to get down to business. A little while later, someone approaches the girl and asks if he can offer her a glass. It's a cocktail, and it's a great way to brighten up loneliness. The main character understands that she has caught a fish and the sober wife of the Marquis Barkin in social circles. The woman claims that they haven't seen Lady Harpin for a long time, and the main character says that Madame has an excellent memory for faces. The girl also thanks her for the recommendation, and the woman replies that there is no need. She also says that she is glad to meet them and invites them to sit at a table and chat. Alice understands that if she had come alone, this woman would have pretended not to notice her, and apparently she is very interested in finding out what kind of relationship she has with the Duke. After which, the girl tells Milady that it's fine and she'll be honored to read it. The girl also understands that she must be drawn to La Vie Belle, not the Duke himself. A little while later, the main character greets them all and states that her name is Alice Harpin. One of the girls says that they haven't seen each other for a long time, and the other claims that they were waiting for her. After which, they tell the lady to quickly sit down over there, and the main character thanks them for giving her a seat. The girl adjusts her hair to make the jewelry more visible. Then one of the ladies says, "How beautiful Miss Harpin looks today." The main character says that they are exaggerating because the ladies also look great today, but she thought that an angel had descended from heaven. The Marquis's wife tells the miss that she appeared before them in such a changed form, and it seems that this surprised everyone very much. Her necklace is especially beautiful because as soon as she saw it, it won her heart. The main character asks, "What is this, my lady?" and thinks that it seemed to her that they were all looking at her neck, and that it was not her imagination after all. Another lady at this time claims that the ring is also very nice, and one of them asks if it is possible to ask where she bought such jewelry. The girl replies that she's at the La Vie Belle store. Alice claims that their compliments make her feel awkward. Another girl claims that she really liked the brooch and wants to know if she should say that the store is called La Vie Belle, and if she says where it is, she would like to buy jewelry there. The main character understands that it is natural, because Mr. Penson put his whole soul into the jewelry that she wore today. He carefully processed the stone so that the jewels shone so brightly in the light of the lamps of the court hall. One of the ladies says that these stones sparkled when the lady danced, and the other claims that she suddenly remembered when they started talking about dancing. After which, she apologizes for such a question, but asks what kind of relationship the lady has with the Duke. The main character understands that this is it, and the girl finally asks this question. A little while ago, the blonde man was sitting with other aristocrats, and when he saw the Duke and the woman next to him, he approached the balcony. His sister asked who her brother was looking at so intently, and the man insisted he thought he saw a familiar face. The lady claimed that she was the ex-wife of Duke Feiharan, and that she was dancing with Duke Rumister. The man asked if she had really said that this was the wife of Duke Feiharan, and the girl asked why her brother was so surprised, since she had spoken about her last time. The man then claims that no, and he simply didn't think that it was her. Someone else claims that she had only recently gotten divorced, so he didn't think that the girl would appear in such a place. And the most surprising thing is that she came accompanied by Duke Rumister. The blonde understands that this man has never been interested in women or social events, so why is he dancing with her? Another aristocrat at this time asks if they are lovers, after which the guy squeezes the glass. And he wonders if everyone who dances must necessarily be lovers. His interlocutor asks what he is talking about, after which he asserts that he means that this is possible if they are even dancing together. The man then claims that the aristocrat also danced with Selina on her birthday 5 years ago. And does he really mean to say that he's his sister's lover? His interlocutor immediately asserts that this is not true. And then an awkward silence hangs between them, and the girl realizes that he's clinging to her again. The man tells His Highness that he misspoke and then apologizes, but at that very moment, the guy's sister turns to him and claims that she also wants to dance, and therefore offers to go down together. The man replies that it's fine and suggests going, after which he tells his interlocutor to calm down, since it was just a joke. At this time, the main character claims that she and the Duke have a very special relationship. The other ladies are surprised by this and ask if she is talking about a special relationship. The main character considers whether to make them fantasize, after which she asserts that they are very devoted to each other. After all, they are business partners and, to be honest, she recently started her own business. These jewels are from her jewelry store. One of the people wonders if she actually owns the store. And the main character replies that it's a small shop, so she's even embarrassed to say it. But it's called La Via Belle and is located on Real Street. Another lady claims she thought she saw it and thought she'd stop in once. It turns out it's Lady Harpen's shop. The main character says she almost became her client. Someone else asks if this is where Mary Arden's cafe is, by any chance. Another girl insists it's true, as that's where she saw it. The main character realizes she's initially attracted their attention and stage 1 has been successful, but she needs to generate even more interest. One of the ladies asks if it means that she came to the balls with the Duke only as a business partner, to which the lady replies that for starters, it's just like that. The girl understands that it was only worth slightly throwing out the fishing rod, and they became even more interested. And the girl says that the Duke really has a wonderful character. They get along well in business, and she even thought it would be nice to have a friend like him. Others claim she heard the Duke has no female friends. To which the main character replies that it is all thanks to the jewelry, and when she showed him the design of the jewelry made by her jewelers, he was very pleased and said that he would like to communicate with her closer. The girl understands that she needs to make them think that the Duke liked the jewelry in her store, which is why he communicates with her so closely. Alice says that the Duke likes her jewelry so much that he even wanted to collaborate with her long term. In her thoughts, the girl thanks the Duke and realizes that she used him as an advertising model completely free of charge. In her past life, she often used this method when she wanted to present a product in the best light to potential customers. The girl also says that ladies should come to her store sometime and she will personally recommend them jewelry according to their taste or precious stones. They agree, and the lady thanks them, saying she's so embarrassed they paid so much attention to her and her story. The other lady insists she's such a good person for running her own business, and they'll definitely come see her. Alice smiles after this and understands that the first goal of this point was to generate interest among potential clients, and this goal was crowned with success. If aristocrats wear her jewelry, it will become effective advertising, and those men who want to give their women a gift, they'll form a new group of customers for their store and then be able to purchase their products themselves, such as a pocket watch or a tie clip. This is her plan, after which the girl states that it is time for her to go, and her interlocutor asks if the lady is already leaving. The main character claims she wants to freshen up a bit outside because she's feeling a little dizzy and probably hasn't had champagne in a while. Alice understands that all good things come in moderation, and that talking too much can actually have the opposite effect. When she steps out onto the terrace, she realizes she's done well. But at that very moment, someone else turns to the lady and tells her to listen. It turns out to be a guy with blonde hair, after which he greets the lady and the main character asks who he is. But at that very moment, she realizes that this is the same impudent guy who bought the necklace. The guy asks the lady if she remembers him, and the girl replies, yes. She silently adds, how can she forget that day and his fish-like head? After which, the girl looks at his outfit and wonders if he is from the royal family. The lady understands that judging by his appearance, he is about 25, and if he is from the royal family, but she has never seen him, then most likely it is the prince, and the girl immediately bows and greets His Highness. The man replies that he's not there for these formalities and feels so awkward. The main character realizes that this impudent fellow turned out to be a prince. After which she asks how he knows her, and the lady thinks that he is still unhappy with that situation, and maybe even wants to punish her. But he is also to blame for this. He was dressed like a commoner, and in the end, he also bought something that really offended her. The man apologizes for that time, and the woman is surprised, realizing it's a bit unexpected. The blonde insists he wanted to give a special gift to his only sister, and it seems he showed excessive insolence that day. The main character imagines herself saying, "That's it," and agreeing with him, but she understands that if she says that, he'll likely execute her. The girl says that it's okay. It's also her fault that she didn't say everything clearly right away, so he shouldn't be upset about it. The man then claims that the changes are only in words, but they don't seem entirely sincere, and the girl wonders if he's really going to get down on his knees. Her interlocutor claims that he would not want any misunderstanding to arise between them because of that incident. Alice says that she is really fine and wonders if he really said that between them. But she and Mr. Prince are not in the kind of relationship to meet and communicate. The blonde man at this time states that therefore he would like to treat Miss Harpen to dinner and asks what she thinks about it. The girl understands that she has already finished promoting her business for today when she gave those ladies a reason to fantasize about a relationship between her and the Duke. If we also involve a prince, then the impression might be formed that she is a stickler for everyone, and especially since we are talking about a royal person. And then interest in her will arise, but of a completely different nature. She doesn't want to be thought of in the wrong way, after which the blonde says he hopes it's not too much of a hassle to kick her. He just wants to treat her, that's all. But at that very moment, someone else cries out that this is where Miss Harpen was. It turns out to be the Duke, who bows to His Highness and asks how he chewed. The man claims that the guy hasn't been to a ball for a long time, and he replies that yes, he came there as Miss Harpen's partner. He also tells the lady that he's been looking for her for a long time, and then offers to walk her home. The prince asks if he'll really walk her home, and the Duke replies that yes, it was he who suggested coming with him to the balls, and he must bear responsibility until the end. After which, His Highness menacingly asks if they are really that close, and the Duke at that very moment approaches the lady. He also says he sees them as having a close relationship. The man claims they only danced once together, and if they were that close, they should have tried several more. His interlocutor claims that Miss Harpen felt dizzy and wanted to rest, so His Highness has nothing to worry about. The man says that his interlocutor today is a rather impudent duke who asks if this is possible. After all, he's simply stating what is. The main character then steps between these two and tells the duke that she'll leave now. The girl also informs His Highness that she will probably go, since it is time for her to return home, and she hopes that he understands her. When the prince wants to say something, the duke immediately tells the lady that it is good, and then they will do so. The man claims that Lady Harpin looks tired, so they need to go. He also apologizes to His Highness. The main character, observing all this, understands that even though the duke is from the most influential family in the empire, how can one treat a prince like that? The blonde then claims that, since Miss Harpin says she is tired, then let them go. Then the two leave, and the lady understands that, okay, and if she is uncomfortable, then she can refuse the offer to have dinner, even with the prince himself. When she leaves, the blonde says it's funny. Meanwhile, she leaves with the duke, wondering if they're really supposed to walk hand in hand. The man then tells the lady to wait, and the girl thinks that maybe he heard her thoughts. After which, the duke takes off his jacket and wraps the lady in it, and also says that he thinks she is cold. The lady replies that no, and she is fine, but her interlocutor says that she is dressed too lightly, so he is worried that the lady might catch a cold, and she doesn't mind. Alice then thanks the duke, and he asks if it's better this way. She realizes he's making that dangerous expression again, so she needs to pull herself together. The main character thinks that she only needs to think about business, and at this time, the man asks if Miss Harpin is shivering from the cold. The lady replies that no, and offers to return the jackets to Artsrun, who replies that it's okay, and she can give it to him later. By the way, if you think about it, he is a little ashamed, and the main character is wondering why. To which her interlocutor claims that he thinks he took her away from the ball too quickly and showed himself to be a rude person. The main character smiles after this and says that, on the contrary, she is grateful to him. The girl understands that. Thanks to him, she managed to avoid the prince's proposal without looking like a girl with bad manners. The duke turns to Miss Harpin and asks what else the prince said. The protagonist asks what he means. The man then claims that he is asking about what else the prince said, besides inviting him to dinner. The lady replies that she doesn't even remember, and simply apologized for the incident that happened before. The duke asks if she knew His Highness personally, to which the girl replies that, if she hadn't answered, they wouldn't have been in that kind of relationship. It's just that one day, when he changed clothes in an ordinary garage, an unpleasant incident happened. Her interlocutor says that it is clear, and if he does not want to talk about this topic, then he will not ask anymore. But at that very moment, the girl turns to the duke and thanks him for this evening. The man asks why exactly, and the girl says that she feels this ball is a turning point in her life. She could have simply remained a miserable divorced woman, but thanks to him, she came out into society again, and was even able to advertise her business. After this, the duke says that there is no need for gratitude, since it is also beneficial to him if her business goes uphill. After all, they're in the same boat, and the girl replies that it's true. After all, they're in the same boat. He briefly asserts that he's honored that such a beautiful and wise woman as she was his partner at the ball. A little while later, he tells the lady that he sees a carriage, and the girl wonders if so much time has really passed. Her interlocutor then offers to go, and he will help her get into the carriage, after which the lady extends her hand to him and they head into the carriage. When it's time to say goodbye, the guy says that they will see each other in the near future, and the lady asks if he wants to discuss matters concerning the mine. Her interlocutor says that this is also the case, after which the lady says that this is good and let him contact her. When the girl heads home, she thinks that maybe he found another deposit. The duke at this time thinks that the matter is that he just wants to talk to her. A little while later, the girl realizes that the effect of her advertisement at the ball was better than she thought. The very next day, the ladies she had seen in the palace began to come to her shop. Of course, Madame Jackie also helped, and the number of clients almost doubled. A little while later, the maid claims that their sales have jumped. It was truly a stroke of luck that Miss went to that ball. A short time later, the workday ends, and the girl declares that the workday is over for the day. When she returns home, the maid pours her tea, and the girl understands that if this continues, it will be difficult for Mr. Agee and Celine to cope together. At this time, the maid asks if it is difficult for the miss, since she is so busy in the store, but she also continues to work at home. At this time, the girl offers the maid to look at it and claims that this is a sales chart for their store. After she went to the ball, sales increased by 50%. The maid claims that this way, they can reach her level. The main character claims that, of course, after that they fell a little, but the graph clearly shows an upward trend. Her interlocutor at this time turns to the miss and asserts that this is a real success. The girl thinks how amazing this is, but she understands that she cannot lose her winning spirit. The protagonist realizes that her situation is now quite stable, after being so heartlessly treated and kicked out of Feharen's house. The girl began to engage in the jewelry business and again appear in high society. And in the relationship with Duke Rumeester, although there are glimpses of some tender feeling, this is nothing more than a temporary interest. However, this is only the beginning, after which the girl tells Neri that it would be necessary to order a logo. The girl asks if this is true, and the main character claims that she will make a large logo that will symbolize their store and hang it on the wall. The maid asks if she means the drawing with the swan, to which the main character replies that it is correct. It is important that every person immediately associates the name La Vie Belle with that white swan. After all, her store will symbolize the best and most irreplaceable brand in the entire empire. At this time, one man is sitting in his office, after which he hears someone knocking and telling that person to come in. The servant turns to the marquis and states that the loss seems too great, and the man cries out, "What suddenly happened to these idiotic jewelers?" The servant asks if he understands that this is all because of that woman, and the man asks, "What other woman?" His interlocutor claims it's the same Feharen's ex-wife. The maid turns to her mistress and asks if there's any point in everyone remembering the drawing. The girl replies that of course there is, and that this is not just the meaning, but the essence of their brand's advertising. If a logo is created successfully, the brand will become recognizable without unnecessary explanation. The woman then claims that each company has its own design, so it's much easier to remember it than to learn the name. To which the girl replies that everything is correct. After this, the maid asks how the mistress came up with this idea, because it really is a brilliant idea. She also asks how many more people the lady is going to hire, and the girl asks what the maid thinks about this. Her interlocutor claims that, given the client's passion, she thinks that 3 employees will be enough. She believes she needs to hire 1 person each to assist Mr. Agee and Miss Celine with customer service. She also needs another assistant to monitor the store and report any unforeseen situations to the mistress. After which the girl asks if she is really wrong, and the main character just hugs the maid and claims that she is saying everything correctly and that she has turned out to be such a reliable partner. The maid tells the miss that she is just slowly learning from her, and the main character claims that she is doing great. Neri also asks if anything else is needed, and most importantly, the game does not claim that one more thing needs to be prepared and that it will soon open 2 branches. The woman asks if it really happened out of the blue, and the girl claims that she had been thinking about it from the very beginning. If there are stable sales within 2 months, this will mean that they have managed to win the hearts of buyers, and then they will expand the business. Her interlocutor is interested in whether more La Vie Belle stores will open, to which the main character replies that, yes, and for now it will start to swell, but then it will appear even more. Her interlocutor insists that it's great, and the girl says it's called a franchise. It's opening a store in a different location but under their name. The maid at this time asks what good it would be if they had the same name, and the girl says that she will profit from commissions and she will receive money for using the name of her store, just like others receive payment for renting out land. Neri asks if the lady will actually get money by lending them the name. Then she exclaims, Does this really mean Miss will soon get rich? The girl replies that no, and it wasn't her, but they. The maid asks how they could be. They are the mistress's property, so how can she claim it, especially since she's only a simple servant? Alice replies that Neri, who is now no longer the servant of the Harpin and Fayheron family, is now a very smart and business partner. The maid then turns to the miss, and the girl claims that she already said that she was able to overcome all the difficulties only thanks to her. Her interlocutor claims that, on the contrary, it was thanks to Miss that she became so happy. The main character says that at that very moment when everyone abandoned her and turned away, the girl was always there, so she is very grateful to her. Neri is the only one who has become a family to her. The maid then hugs Miss with tears in her eyes. She claims that she is ready to go with her anywhere, and no matter what happens, she will always be there. Alice replies that it's good and they will both try, so everything will work out for them. The girl understands that they will definitely become happy and she will do everything for this. A little while later, the main character approaches Neri and offers to go with her to the real estate agency tomorrow. The maid asks why she suddenly needs to go there, and the girl replies that she wants to open an office and hire people there, and also to handle matters related to expansion there. The girl then asks if this means the lady will be working in the office, and the main character replies that yes, and she will be working there too. It seems that Nero will have to take on the affairs related to running a business, and the girl asks, does this mean that she will now work separately from Mr. Aji and Miss Celine? Alice claims that they will be close to the main store, so she shouldn't be upset. The girl also understands that Neri is the same age as her younger brother. But at the same moment, the lady thinks, why she even remembered about him? And she needs to think about something else. After which, the lady begins to think about the Duke and his smile and understands. It seems she's completely lost her mind. The maid, hearing this, cries out to Miss that this is absolutely not true. After which, the main character starts laughing. Her interlocutor thinks it's already happened, but the main character doesn't respond, asking her not to forget that they're going to look at office space tomorrow. The maid claims that the lady must have been having a very hard time lately, and much time later, they find themselves in the shop. When Mr. Aji comes in, the maid says he's arrived. The lady claims he's just in time, even though she thought she'd never see him again. The guy says it looks like she has some good news. Their main character tells Mr. Aji to hurry up and get there because she needs to tell him something. After which, he approaches the table, and the girl states that she plans to hire 4 more workers. 2 of them will help him with Miss Celine, and he and Neri will now work in the office. Aji says that there is very little time left when they will be able to work together, son and mistress. And it is so sad. Alice claims that Neri is also worried about this, but they will see each other often. After which, the guy says that it's good, and the lady understands that she knew it, and he is simply the treasure of this store. Mr. Aji is responsible for attracting female customers to their store. When he starts explaining, smiling broadly, the girls lose their heads and immediately buy jewelry. One day, when the guy was working, one of the ladies handed him a note. Aji asked what it was, and his interlocutor suggested that he read it when he was alone. After which she ran away, leaving the guy perplexed. The main character, with a smile on her face, said that without her, the store would be fine, as so many people came to see him. The young man claims that this is all thanks to the efforts of the lady, because he still has a lot to learn. Alice says that he has an incredible ability to attract people to himself, so let him be a little more truthful in himself. At that moment, the guy bows his head, and the girl asks, "What's wrong with him?" After which, her interlocutor asks if the lady really said that he has an ability. Alice replies yes and asks what's wrong. The guy insists he doesn't even know because there's nothing wrong with him. Then the girl tells him to know that everyone should know their own strengths. The lady understands that when popular stars said things like that in their past lives, people called it nonsense, but it's so fitting for this situation. After which, the girl asks the charming Mr. Aji to take care of the store. A little while later, someone else comes in there and the maid says that they have a visitor. Well, When she wants to say that they are still closed, she sees in front of her a man with a menacing expression on his face. The main character at that moment gets up and screams, "Is this really Marquis Black?" The man just moves on and pushes the maid away, and also claims that Madame has become quite famous. She's divorced, so she's no longer a lady. The main character clenches her fists and, with a smile on her face, says that judging by the fact that he showed up in person, it seems his wife also asked for jewelry. But the man at that very moment cries out, "Doesn't she understand why he came there?" Marquez claims he came on behalf of Janes and Marcel as well as Spymon. Marquis Black is the owner of the most famous jewelry company, Janes. The company's Merchel and Spymon also supplied the jewelry crafted by the jewelers. They were the ones who created the cartel to profit from this business. Now the man says, "For centuries, there's some kind of solution that doesn't make any sense." She grabbed the Duke's money and decided to start a business. Aji then became furious and went after the man. But at that very moment, the maid jumps up in front of him and screams at how rudely he treats their mistress, so he should apologize right now. The main character replies that it's nothing, and she'll figure it out. The girl also asks the Marquis why he came there. The man replies that he couldn't stand the way the girl looked down on them and made stupid remarks, which is why he came. The woman asks if he's talking about stupidity, since they're trying their best. But at that very moment, her interlocutor slams the table and angrily asks if she knows at least what damages she caused them. The girl asks what kind of damage she caused them, after which the man tells her not to pretend to be an angel, because she gathered all the jewelers for herself, and they cannot receive deliveries of jewelry. The girl claims that she simply offered them a little more than they had received before. Her interlocutor claims that it is her problem that the lady is playing with money. Alice wonders if this means he wants her to break the contract for hiring jewelers. Then the man claims that now it seems the lady understands him, because there's no point in getting involved in the real business that they are engaged in. The main character says that she has one condition. If he pays the entire amount that she promised her jewelers for 3 years at once, then she will terminate the monopoly contract. The man asks if she is talking about the amount for 3 years, and the girl claims that if you calculate it together with bonuses, it comes to approximately 120 to 240 million denites. And her interlocutor at that very moment screams out, "What kind of ridiculous condition is this? And has she really gone completely crazy?" The maid understands that she knew that their mistress would not simply remain silent, and the man screams, "Is she really suggesting that they go to the bottom? If a girl wants to go into business, she should at least follow traditions." The lady wonders who these traditions are for, since all he's ever done is exploit the craftsman. He couldn't get his money back, so now he's taking it out on her. Her interlocutor asks how the girl dares to lecture him, since she herself could not cope with her family, that even her husband divorced her and he will teach her a proper lesson. At the same moment, the man tells these people to come in, and men with weapons burst into the store. Their leader shouts at them to smash all the glass display cases and goods there. But at that very moment, someone grabs the man by the arm and tells him to stop. When he wonders who this guy is and where he's going, and also whether he even knows who he is. After which the man screams for these people to deal with this scum first. But the young man wonders if they really don't know who he is. His interlocutor cries out how he can know some poor fellow who has nothing to his name. After which, the young man claims that if he doesn't know, then there's no point in wagging his tongue like that, because there's no common sense in it. His interlocutor immediately grabs the guy and asks what he said, and the maid turns to the lady and says that it seems that Mr. Aji has gone crazy and the Marquis must be stopped. The main character claims that it is not the Marquis who needs to be stopped, but Mr. Aji, after which the room bursts into flames. The guy says that if they want to be baked alive, then let them try to come closer. The Marquis says how annoying he is, and the maid tells Miss that it seems Mr. Aji's lights worked. The main character realizes that it was true, and the guy claimed that he was more capable of working as a handyman than as a salesman, and that he could protect the store from robbers. The lady understands that if it were not for him, one of these people, her precious La Vie Belle, would have been destroyed. The man immediately screams out what a worthless piece of work this puppy is and asks how he dared. The guy immediately dodges the blow with a hammer, grabs the man by the arm, and then twists him, placing him on the floor. He also says that this worthless thing can handle him with his bare hands. At that moment, the rest of the people run away and call him a monster. The main character tells the Marquis and Mr. Agee to stop. At that moment, someone else enters the store and wonders what happened. Agee asks who else he is, and the maid claims that it is Duke Rumiester. The Marquis immediately rises and asks if it is the Duke, and he turns to the Marquis of Black, and she wonders what he did there. When the man is about to answer, he can't utter a word. The main character understands that he grovels before the strong and shows strength before the weak. The girl also turns to the Duke and claims that they have a small problem related to running a business. The man says that she doesn't need to explain further because he already understands. The Duke also says that Miss Harpin is her main business partner and a close acquaintance of his. So, did he really think of threatening her? The girl understands that he didn't use force or even swear, but she senses power in him. The man claims that he will no longer do any business with the Marquis, which shocks him. He tells the Duke that's not the point, that he simply wanted to talk. His interlocutors ask if he really brought mercenaries with him just for a simple conversation. He considered their relationship to be quite friendly, but he would no longer be able to communicate with the Marquis. The man cries out to the Duke that he cannot allow this, and the lady realizes she didn't think he would be so categorical. The Marquis cries out that the relationship between their families began with their fathers, but his interlocutor says that it doesn't matter to him how long the relationship between their families goes back. After all, he intends to work with someone who intimidates others for his own benefit. But his interlocutor jumps up and says that because of this woman he is in danger of collapse, because she is the first one who violated trade morality. Agee, hearing all this, is going to hit this man, but at the same moment, the main characters do not stop him. When the lady goes further, the guy asks what she is going to do, and the girl understands that Mr. Agee should not interfere in this. With the appearance of the Duke, the situation became even more confused, after which the main character bows her head and states that she is very ashamed of her thoughts. Everyone is surprised, but the Marquis claims that she has finally come to her senses. Agee wonders why the lady is saying this, but the video claims that she was almost scared for a moment. She is so ashamed of such a cruel and impudent person as he is in front of herself. The Duke smiles and realizes that he knew it all, and the Marquis becomes furious and screams that some divorcee is acting like a tough guy. The girl claims that if she thinks he didn't pay a fair wage for the work and exploited the workers, she absolutely cannot agree with that. He can bring in mercenaries as he does now, or negotiate with other companies and let him do whatever he wants. The maid then says that their mistress is the bravest in the world, and the Marquis says that if they do as this girl says, the stone miners will soon demand a raise. He also cries out whether this is normal for him, and the Duke, with a smile on his face, says that if this is the problem, he's already raised their salaries by a quarter of the established base salary. The main character wonders when he managed to do that, and the Marquis, shocked, asks what he said. But when he wants to add something else, the man simply places his hand on his shoulder, and he insists that no matter what he says, he won't change his mind even if he disturbs Miss Harpin. Then let him be prepared for the consequences, after which the man says that he should enter. When he leaves, the main character falls to the floor, and the Duke immediately asks if she is okay. The other workers also run up to the lady, and the girl insists that everything is fine. The maid, with tears in her eyes, says that Mrs. hands are shaking, and the girl understands that it seems she tried too hard to hold on. Agee also addresses the lady, and the girl says that they had to go through this. After which, the Duke helps the lady to get up, but at the same time asks if she is injured and states that the lady needs to be carefully examined. The girl replies that everything is indeed fine with her, and that she, on the contrary, put the Duke in a difficult position. Aji, watching these two, lowers his hand and the girl also turns to the workers. And she says she feels awkward in front of them too. The maid immediately asks why the missus is apologizing, since it was the Marquis who turned out to be bad. Aji says that the lady did nothing wrong. The girl then thanks him. She also turns to the Duke and claims that she did not think that he would do this, so she thanks him. Eugene replies that there's no need to believe it. The lady's affairs also concern him. He also addresses Mr. Aji, and he claims that he did not introduce himself, after which he claims that his name is Eugene Rumister and that he is a business partner of Miss Harpen. The guy immediately bows before the Duke and claims that his name is Aji. After this, he claims that the guy stopped Marquis Black and his mercenaries, so it seems he has serious abilities. Aji replies that no, he's just an ordinary salesman. But the Duke tells him not to take him seriously. Miss Harpen's family and friends are also his friends. The guy then says there's no need to address him so politely, since he's a commoner. The Duke replies that he still cannot immediately switch to informal familiarity with a person he sees for the first time. The main character, watching these two, realizes that it seems they didn't really like each other. The girl also turns to the Duke and asks why he looked into the books. The man replies that the lady invited him to her store, so he remembered her words. He never imagined something like this would happen, and he tells the heroine that everything was resolved thanks to him, so she's very grateful. Her interlocutor insists he should have come earlier, and if more like that appear, he'll sever ties with everyone. The Duke addresses them again and asserts that, frankly, one thing is bothering him. He points to the maid and states that this is what caught his attention. Neri asks him what he's talking about, and when she turns around, she realizes there's a display case behind her. Alice claims these are the most important items in their store, or the Duke claims it's so amazing. He also asks who designed these pieces of jewelry, to which the girl replies that most of it was made by their master jewelers. Mr. Harley Penson collects drawings of jewelry made by other artisans and sends them to her. And she chooses among them those that she liked, and then they come ready-made to her. The Duke says what a systematic approach this is, and the harmony of color and design immediately catches the eye. He also notes the ruby leaves and emerald moon. The protagonist claims she suggested the idea of reversing the color and shape. Although it would have been beautiful, and as is usually accepted, she wanted to bring in a little novelty. The Duke claims that he guessed that the lady had an unusually developed taste, but it is very beautiful. Alice says he's exaggerating, as she simply expressed an idea. Lady also understands that this was fashionable in a past life, and adds that beauty was created by masters. The man claims that this is the result of the skill of the jewelers and the impeccable taste of Miss Harpen. The maid claims that there are also decorations made with special stones, according to birth months. The man asks if these are birthstones, and the main character replies that, yes, and that it's a special display case. There, you can choose a stone that corresponds to your birth month. January is garnet, February is amethyst, and December is turquoise. The maid says that when a client chooses the appropriate stones, they make a necklace or bracelet for them in the design they desire. Aji claims that products made from such stones have a special meaning, and such a gift is perfect as a gift for a loved one, relative, or friend. Alice says that they explain everything so well and asks if it's true. These are the best sellers in their store, who ensure high sales. The Duke claims that this is the first time he has seen such an original way of selling, and it is not surprising that buyers can only admire it. The main character understands that these stones were also very popular at one time in a past life, and it can be said that this product has already passed the test. The man claims that it would be nice if such an excellent store could be visited by different customers, and it is a bit of a pity that there is only one. The girl understands that the businessman's thoughts are the same and claims that, to be honest, she herself was thinking about several points of sale. The lady understands that the Duke is her main supplier, and it would be better if he were aware of her plans. The girl says she plans to open several stores under her name. Other stores will pay her a percentage of their sales, and in exchange, she'll lend them their name. For example, 2 stores and 3. At the same moment, the Duke clenches his fists, and the main characters look at his facial expression and ask if something is wrong. But the man smiles at the same moment and asks Lady Harpin how much more she plans to surprise him today, because it's amazing that she even came up with this way of doing business. The maid claims that this is indeed a great idea, because she says that the miss is simply smart. The main character claims it's far from perfect, and she still needs to figure out how to advertise it. She wonders if this is how people feel when they cheat and are praised. The Duke at this time says that Lady Harpin can use his name for advertising if she deems it beneficial. The girl then thanks the Duke and understands that if they say that they use raw Duke Rumiester, then this will be a guarantee of the quality of their products. The man says that the lady can contact him at any time if any difficulties arise that need to be discussed together. The girl replies that it's a great honor to work with such a generous man as the Duke. The lady understands that he's only being considerate, and she's so lucky. Her interlocutor claims that he does this because he wants to do it, and he does not think that this can be called generosity. The maid says that they are very well suited to each other as partners and friends, which is why it is so pleasant to look at them. Aji says yes, but only looks sadly at the two of them. A little while later, the Duke says he has to go, and the girl thanks him. After which, the man leaves the store, and the main character realizes that Mr. Aji had to be really nervous today. The girl also approaches him, and then asks if he would like to have dinner together today. The guy is surprised by this. The Scarlet Girl claims that he had a hard time today and she would like to treat him, to which he agrees. The maid asks if this means there will be something tasty for dinner today, and the main character answers that yes. After all, they'll have dinner and a heart-to-heart chat. A little while later, the main character thanks him for accepting her invitation. The girl also tells Neri that she will go to the kitchen and let Mr. Aji feel at home, to which they agree. When the girl enters the kitchen, the cook asks if the lady has already returned. Alice claims that she arrived early because she has guests today and that they are probably hungry, so she asks if the lady can cook more. The woman tells the lady not to worry because she will cook in abundance. A little while later, they are already looking at the table and saying how long it will last there. Alice says that their cook has prepared a special dinner today and then wishes everyone bon appetit. The maid also wishes bon appetit to Aji and thanks him for the treat after they begin to eat. A little while later, the lady turns to Mr. Aji and thanks him for what he did today. If he hadn't intervened, their store would have suffered great losses. And the maid replies that this is true, because it's so good that they have Mr. Aji. The girl says that, thanks to him, she and Neri remained safe and sound. The man replies that there is no need for gratitude, because he did what he had to, and there is no need to constantly thank him. He couldn't allow those people who had so brazenly burst into the store to also threaten them. But still, the girl says that resisting such high-ranking officials as the Marquis requires special courage. The guy repeats the words of a high-ranking official and claims that this is of course true, but there is no need to be afraid of him because of this. The maid says that Mr. Aji acts so confidently in front of both the Marquis and the Duke. The main character understands that if you think about it, he was just a little shy in front of her from the very beginning. But he felt no discomfort or fear. The maid then suggested that perhaps he wasn't afraid of anyone because of his magical abilities, and the main character said that was true, and that today she had truly seen what a remarkable wizard he was. The guy claims that his level is not that amazing, because there are many magicians who can do the same. Well, the girl says that not all people are capable of controlling such magic, and it was really great. The guy just bows his head, and the main character asks what happened. The girl understands that it seems he is very shy, and Alice says that it seems Mr. Aji is shy when he is praised. The guy claims that he just wasn't praised that often, and the girl asks if that's true. But she's hardly ever met people who have as many virtues as he does. Her interlocutor claims that he is not sure of this, and he simply wants to become a person who can be useful to the lady. The maid says that such a sense of responsibility and care for others are his virtues. to which the guy smiles. A little while later, the main character sits with a piece of paper and thinks about what to write next. Finding shop owners is even more difficult than recruiting workers, and after attracting a large number of craftsmen, she managed to rise to the level of a near monopoly in the supply of precious stones. But this is temporary, as long as other companies hire new jewelers or start attracting labor from other regions. Then her position will change, and until that happens, she needs to convince as many merchants as possible to cooperate with her store. At this time, the maid approaches the lady and claims that the Duke turned out to be such a good person that he even made sure that they could advertise their store. Alice will answer that this is true, and it is very important to use an influential name, and he was the one who first suggested doing this. The maid wonders if this is an advertisement for a chain of stores, and the main character asks if she wants to read it. After all, it seems to her that she has no ability at all to write texts, after which the woman looks at this. And then he asks Miss if he can suggest an idea to her. Alice asks what that idea is, and her interlocutor claims that there is a phrase there about La Vie Belle, offering them very attractive products, and it might be worth cutting it. And if you list a few key products below, it seems to her it will look more effective. The main character says that this is a great idea, after which the maid asserts that it is necessary to insert a logo and a short description there, because the lady herself said that the brand design is very important. Alice wonders how she managed to see something she hadn't noticed. The maid could have lived her whole life doing housework and never even known she had such abilities. At this point, Neri turns her attention to the mistress and asks if she's gone too far. The protagonist replies that she hasn't at all, and that she's even better at it. The girl immediately asks what the missus is saying, after which the main character puts her hand on her shoulder and confirms it's true. The main character says that sometimes the maid notices things she doesn't, and it's so wonderful. The maid then turns to her with emotion, and the girl insists that the marketing strategy needs to be changed a little. Well, her interlocutor claims that the lady did say that it is now, and quite effective. The main character replies that this is true, but the method they are using now will not last long. The girl understands that, due to the lack of a blog or social networks, they rely on word of mouth, but this method also has its limits. In order to stay afloat, their brand must be well remembered by customers, as Aniri said. After which, the main character says that nothing comes to her mind, and the maid tells the miss that she will also think about it. At that moment, the cook comes into the room and tells her dear ladies that work is good, but they need to take a break for tea, after which they thank her. The main character asks why she brought the cake at this time, and the maid claims that she asked for it and offers the lady to try the cake, because she will probably immediately come up with a good idea. But the girl claims that if she eats cake now, she might gain weight, and the maid asks what's wrong with that, because she's so thin. A little cake isn't scary, so let the lady try it quickly, and it's really delicious. The main character does just that after this, but wonders why she is still so fixated on her weight. Before this, all this was to please that freak, because when the lady ate, he claimed that she ate like a pig, and that's why she was getting fat. Now the maid turns to the miss, after which the girl confidently takes a piece of cake and understands that now there is no need to bend her back to please others. Well, he also starts eating the cake and claims it's so delicious. Alice replies that it really is delicious. The maid says that the lady did the right thing by trying it, because the cakes that their cook bakes always turn out well. Alice understands that she should have a snack first and then think, and now she doesn't need to look back at the opinions of others. A little while later, the girl sees that there is something in the mailbox, and when she takes out the newspaper, a letter also falls out of there. The lady wonders who it is from, and when she looks at the signature, there are no toponyms that indicate it is a prince. The girl does not know what business the prince might have with her, after which she returns to the mansion. Sitting in her office, the lady realizes that things didn't end well at that ball. After which, she opens the sheet and reads that the prince would like to talk to her about the jewelry business. The girl hopes he's not up to anything. She can't refuse the prince's invitation, and first she needs to meet him and sort things out. After which, the lady writes her answer, and 1 week later, she is already in the royal palace. The main character greets His Highness. The man tells her to sit down, after which the lady does so, and her interlocutor claims that his invitation was probably unexpected, after which he thanks the lady for coming. He also says that she had to travel a long way and does not thank him for inviting her to the main game. The man says how aromatic this tea is and asks if people want to try it. The main character realizes that the prince is pouring the tea himself, which shocks her, and she cries out to His Majesty, "Is it possible for a man like him to lie down and pour tea?" After which she offers to top it up herself. The main character understands that in this society, hierarchy is strictly observed and this should be done by a servant who is lower in status. But when the maid suggests that she pour some, the man replies that it's nothing. He also says that the lady was right in her observation, because he is not the type of person who pours tea for others, and he hopes that she will be able to drink this cup of tea in peace. Alice agrees and thanks His Highness. The man tells her to try the tea, and when the lady drinks it, she claims it's truly fragrant and thanks him. Alice realizes she doesn't know what's on his mind, but he's truly delicious. The lady turns to His Highness again and asserts that he did say that he would like to talk to her about business. The man smirked after that. Alice, so there's no point in dragging things out with him, even if we're not close, so we need to get straight to the point. The man claims that it seems the lady wants to talk about the main thing right away, and then it's good. But before that, he would like to say something. The girl wonders what he is talking about, after which her interlocutor states that he would like to apologize for his rudeness. He admits that he acted only as he wanted, without taking her interests into account. Surely the lady felt indignation and could not express her thoughts, and the girl understands that he seems completely different. She didn't think that this man could apologize so sincerely, and the man claims that the lady seems surprised. The girl replies that absolutely not, and her interlocutor claims that, to be honest, his sister scolded him when she heard about that incident. She claimed that he had no respect for ladies, so no one would love him, to which he replied that it was okay and he understood. The girl understands that even the prince himself cannot say a word about his sister. After which the man states that he would therefore like to apologize to the lady, and at the same time make one proposal. A few days later, the girl is already in front of the masters, and they are wondering what happened. One of them says how long it has been since they got together, and has any good work really come up. One of them greets everyone and claims that he knows that they are all very busy, but they gathered them there to tell them something urgent. The main character then asks for a minute of attention and claims that she has good news because they have a new client. One of them asks if this is really a new customer, since it won't take long to become rich. They ask what this place is, after which the girl replies that it is the royal palace. 3 days ago, the prince stated that he would like to entrust them with the production of the royal jewels. The main character turned to His Highness and asked if this was true, to which he replied that it was. After all, he had already discussed this with the king of role-playing decor and also showed them several products from their store, and they really liked it. The girl understands that this is a bit too much for an apology, but if she is trusted to make royal jewelry, it will only help with advertising. Her interlocutor claims the lady even beamed when he started talking business. Alice insists His Highness is so kind she can't even believe it. Well, the man claims that this is not an apology, it is just a simple courtesy. Her products are truly so amazing that they are even recognized in the royal palace. And if she can satisfy their tastes, then he will completely entrust this matter to her. The main character, shocked, asks if he'll really trust her with this completely. The man also claimed that he'll order jewelry for the royal palace exclusively from her store for 3 months. He thinks that this is a great chance for her business, or the girl understands that this is not just a great chance, but real luck. After which, she sighs and thanks him, and also asserts that she will take full responsibility for such an important matter. The man claims that, on the contrary, he's grateful, as he thought the lady would refuse him because she's been busy lately. the main character wonders who could refuse an offer from the royal palace. After which, she even asserts that she will truly do everything in her power. Meanwhile, the princess sits in her room. And a little while later, her brother comes to her and asks if she has read the book. The girl closes the book and claims that her brother looks happy, after which he smiles. And he claims that this lady accepted his invitation. His sister says that this is great because now they will receive excellent goods, and she also really liked their jewelry. The man said yes, and he was a little worried, but the lady happily agreed. He didn't want to set deadlines and would have suggested that she deal with constant supply. But he's not the only one who decides this. The guy claims that he has agreed on the first order first, and then is going to ask his parents' opinion. The girl understands that he didn't even show much interest in his wardrobe, and look how happy he is about the delivery of jewelry. And her brother claims that they will need to meet several times and discuss details regarding the jewelry. After which, the girl says that it is clear that he is wondering why he is so happy. And she has the feeling that he was given permission to go on a date. The prince then says that his sister understands jewelry better than him, and it would be a good idea for her to meet the lady. The princess then comments that this is good. The main character then tells the craftsman that they will be supplying jewelry to the royal palace within 3 months. If they like it, then it is quite possible that they will be trusted with this matter, and she knows that they always do their best. But when making jewelry for the royal palace, a little more soul needs to be put into the department, and she hopes that they will pay special attention to this. However, the girl also says that in return, she will generously thank them with a cash prize. At the same moment, they scream for the mistress to trust them, and another man asserts that he will also try his best. The lady smiles after this, but at the same moment someone else tells them to listen, and the girl asks what happened. One of the workers says that this is a big deal for him, because he will be able to make jewelry with his own hands that will be worn by members of the royal family. The main character understands that, unlike making jewelry for members of high society, most likely, for them, supplying jewelry to royalty is a completely different experience. After which, the girl takes this worker by the hands and states that she is also very glad that they can do such a thing together. The worker, with tears in his eyes, claims that after he started working with the lady, he became more confident in himself and in jewelry making. He also thanks the lady for creating such good working conditions for them, and also giving them the opportunity to create jewelry for the royal family, which is why he is so happy. The girl says that if the royal family wishes, they will become their suppliers of jewelry. The man immediately claims that the lady changed their lives, after which he thanks her. One of the maids claims that, thanks to the lady, they now don't have to worry about what to scold them for, and the lady did everything so that they could settle into their work, so they will never forget it. Someone else claims that, thanks to the lady, he fell in love with his job, and before that, only offensive things happened. Alice asks why they did this, because it's all thanks to their unrivaled talents, and she is also very grateful, and they helped them make her dream come true. The girl also claims that she hopes they will work together for a long time. After which they smile and exclaim that, yes, and the main character understands that she will make every effort to ensure that they can make jewelry for as long as possible, and so that they could all develop and grow together. A short time later, the lady realizes the newspaper ad had an immediate effect. Cooperation with the Duchy of Rumyester and a 3-month contract with the royal palace. These 2 facts alone had an explosive effect, and less than a week after the announcement was published, letters with offers of cooperation began to arrive. And among them, there were even inquiries about whether it would be possible to open branches of their brand outside the capital. The girl understands that this is a powerful family and a royal palace, and in one word, their brand is recognized. A little while later, the maid claims that there will be more work now, and the girl replies that this is definitely true. She also says that it is necessary to draw up contracts for opening branches and hire a lawyer. So it seems that the work process needs to be accelerated. So she's going to hire more people, and the maid says it's like a dream and how great it is that everything turned out this way. At this time, the maid picks up another letter. But when she looks at who the sender is, her face becomes gloomy. She asks what happened. The maid replies that this is not a request for a branch, and when her interlocutor asks what happened then, the girl claims the letter is from the Marquis of Black. Alice realizes that after the Duke spoke so harshly to him, she thought she'd never see the Marquis again, but now she doesn't understand what he's up to. The lady also asks what is written there, and the maid claims that he is offering to meet the lady officially. He apologizes for that incident and writes that he will not allow himself to be rude again and asks for consent. The main character wonders if he's sincere and insists she still has his image in her head. The maid insists he's writing that if the lady doesn't trust him, he can come with security. The girl understands that she doesn't like getting involved with Marquis Black, but turning away from the entire clan could have a negative impact on her relationships with other companies, so it might be worth meeting with him. The maid then tells the lady that they do have Mr. Aji, and it seems to her that he is much more reliable than any security. Alice claims that he has been busy lately without Togo, so she can't bother him even more outside of work. Her interlocutor replies that that is true, because there is another person who can pacify the Marquis of Black, and this is Duke Rumiester. But the main character says that he already helped them a lot last time. She also turns to Neri and suggests that perhaps they should invite the Marquis to their office. The maid asks if she's talking about the office. And a little while later, she looks at this room with admiration and says that the office is already ready. Alice says that this is her first time there since they signed the contract, to which the maid replies that, yes, even then it was completely empty, but now it really does look like an office. The girl understands that since the Marquis wrote such words in the letter, she does not think that he will cause trouble on her territory. Alice says that thanks to Neri being busy with the shopping, she was able to calmly finish all the preparations in the office, and now they will work there together, and the girl can also look around. The main character says that she will work there, after which she points to Neri's place, and the girl says with admiration that now she has her own desk. She also tells the lady that she will do everything in her power, and then the main characters offer to make a plan for today, to which she agrees. A little while later, the lady realizes that there is only 1 hour left before the Marquis' arrival, and the girl wonders what is on his mind. A little while later, she hears someone knocking on the door and telling that person to come in. The man then enters the room. Alice tells him she hopes he'll be comfortable there, and the man insists it's very nice, to which she replies that it's a relief. The Marquis also pays attention to Neri and asks if this is really a maid, to which the main character replies that no, this is the secretary with whom they work together, and now she also manages the affairs. The man says he understands, then apologizes. Alice realizes he looks completely different from last time. The girl also says that it is better to drink tea hot and asks if he wants to try it, to which the Marquis thanks her. When he is about to drink tea, the lady asks if she can ask the reason why he suggested meeting. The man then puts down his mug and says that, first of all, he is grateful to the lady for answering him, and that today he simply wanted to talk to her. The main character realizes that, as she thought, it's all about the Rumiester family's power, and that such a polite gentleman behaved like that last time. The man claims that, to be honest, he has a small request for the lady, and the girl asks if that is really true. Alice understands that last time he caused a disturbance, and now he came with a request, and she doesn't even know how she should react. The maid approaches the lady and asks if she is going to fulfill his request. The girl only smiles in response to this, and her interlocutor claims that first, before asking, he wants to apologize. The man claims that he sincerely repents of his rude and cruel behavior. In his defense, he might say that his business could completely collapse if wages were to increase, and he thinks that is why he acted this way. The lady understands that he lived his whole life without taking into account the opinions of others, and now he says such things, and then the girl thinks that, okay, for starters, they've moved on. The main character says that since he apologizes so much, she even became curious about what kind of request he has for her. The man replies that he would be grateful if the lady at least slightly revised the salary level, and he is not against an increase, but the amount is too large. At the same moment, The girl asks if she really has to do this, and the man says that if things continue like this, his business could fall apart, and this would entail enormous damage to him. The collapse of his business is the collapse of his family, and the main character thinks that if he had not had problems with the Roomiesters, he would never come there to apologize for his behavior, and someday she will have to earn her respect on her own. The girl also wonders if there's a way to avoid losses in such a situation, and the man asks what she is talking about. After which the lady says that he should simply sell the company and claims that she will buy his farm. The man then turns to the lady in surprise and says that asking her to sell the company in the current situation is too much. Alice claims that she is not asking him to do it for a low price, and that he should not misunderstand her. She also believes that the wages she has set now are quite adequate, and if she were to lower the wages of the foreman again, it would be tantamount to fraud. In economics, this is called the low wage rule, and if you lower a salary that has already been raised once, it will only meet with resistance from workers. She believes that she can manage this company and avoid damage because of this, and makes him such an offer. When the Marquis doesn't know what to answer, the lady states that she will add another 30% to the sale price. The man, shocked, asks if she really just said 30%, and the maid asks if that's too many seats. Alice replies that this small loss will bring them even greater profit, and the maid understands that it is impossible to understand the mistress's thoughts. The main character says that this is the price for the complete transfer of all rights, and she understands that she is still going to expand the business. It is better to adopt an already established system with existing staff than to start from scratch. At this time, the man is wondering if she will definitely give him 30%, since usually, on the contrary, everyone asks to cut the price. Therefore, he asks what the reason is, and the girl understands that the Marquis believes that due to the increase in wages, he will remain in the red, but she does not think so. Even though it's not profitable for her, she's confident she can get things moving in the direction she wants. The lady also claims that this is the price for the Marquis' farm, which she really wants, but naturally, a precise valuation is still needed. The man says that this is a good offer, after which the main character rises from her seat. And he says that if it bothers him so much, they can sign a contract. If evidence is found that she deceived him, the girl will be obligated to pay him compensation. The man, shocked, asks if this is really possible, to which the lady replies that, of course, she has no intention of deceiving him, and she can very well answer for her words before the law. The Marquis replies that he will then think about her proposal, and the girl tells him to be kind, and also asks how much time he will need, to which he replies that about 3 days will be enough. The girl extends her hand to him, and her interlocutor shakes it, and the lady states that she then hopes for his positive answer. A little while later, Mr. Aji is putting the goods in the store, and at the same moment, he hears someone else enter the store, and then claims that they have arrived. The guy says yes, and asks if they're back yet. Afterwards, they sit down at the table, and the young man asks if the lady is talking about handing over the company. The girl replies yes, and she'll tell Miss Celine tomorrow. The guy replies that it's clear and congratulates the lady, and the maid asks if he's really not that surprised. She was so surprised when she heard it. The man claims that the lady probably made a wise decision to acquire a company that has a good reputation, which can also be a very effective method. The girl claims that this is true, because at first she was also very surprised, but it turned out that the lady had her own plans. The main character understands that this guy understood everything, although she did not explain anything. And the girl says that it seems that he is also a little familiar with business because he understood everything right away. Her interlocutor claims that this is similar to the expansion of territory, and when the power of the state begins to grow. Alice says that this is a very unusual comparison with the expansion of territory, but in principle the context is similar. The guy at the same moment claims that he blurted out something stupid, and he meant that the lady made a smart decision. The maid at the same time claims that Mr. Aji always asks something unusual like his fiery fist, after which they begin to laugh. The girl also says that after the company is handed over to them, they will all be very busy, so she plans to hire more workers. The fact that they were able to achieve this is all thanks to Neri, Mr. Aji, and Miss Celine. So she's very grateful to them. The guy replies that everything isn't so, because it's because the lady manages things well. The main character then asks him to continue following her, after which she extends her hand to Mr. Aji. And he squeezes her. A little while later, she says that everyone did a good job and says they'll see tomorrow. The girl understands that she needs to pull herself together because soon she will be very busy and this is just the beginning. 3 days later, the Marquis comes to the lady's office with documents. The woman tells him to go through, but the man claims he's made his decision. A little while later, the main character thanks him and claims that she was not sure that he would give an affirmative answer, but thanks to his decision, they were able to make an excellent deal. The girl also asks if he brought the necessary documents, to which he replies that yes, and to begin with, he brought everything he knew. Alice says he prepared everything perfectly, even though there was a lot of paperwork. The man insists these are documents related to his company's valuation and that the lady should review them at her leisure. The main character hands over several documents to Neri, who asks if she can look at them, and she agrees. When the girl looks at the reports, she understands why he was against raising wages. Currently, the company's profit is approximately 5%, and with the additional payment it has established, the profit will decrease to 3%. If you add taxes and interest payments, the income will drop significantly. Of course, he claims. To begin with, judging only by this information, the company's current value can be estimated at approximately 18 million denites. The main character says that the only thing is that she thinks she will have to reevaluate the building's value, because this is an assessment from 5 years ago. It is difficult to trust such indicators, and the price of the company itself may have changed. The man asks if this is true, and the girl tells him not to worry about the commission. She will pay for the appraisal separately. The lady then says she has one more question for the Marquis. She is also interested. Could he please give her a list of his company's main clients? She understands that this is confidential information, but since he's transferring all rights to the company to her, she thinks he might share this too. Her interlocutor claims he doesn't even know why he's interested in the deployment documents. Surely this document can be found if you search hard enough. Alice gets a little angry after this and asks how much he's roughly counting on. The man replies that he cannot give an approximate figure, and it seems to him that the lady will pay well as much as she deems necessary. After all, she's quite a generous person. So the girl wonders if he's saying she's generous and if he really wants her to pay him extra. The Marquis at this time asserts that he had no intention of burdening the lady. Alice understands that if she refuses him, he will consider her a stingy person who was stingy with money. She thought that she had managed to persuade him, but this man turned out to be a real huckster. At this time, the maid understands that if Miss adds another third, the amount will exceed 10 billion, so she does not understand how much more he needs. At this time, Alice is thinking about what to do, but then she realizes that in such cases, it is necessary to make a bet. The lady also says that she is very sorry, but she does not have enough funds to pay him the remaining amount. The amount she offered is all she can pay him. At that moment, the man turns to the lady in shock, and she insists that it is her problem and she will not force him to sell the company for such an insignificant sum. Therefore, it seems to her that it would be better if he keeps the company for himself and does nothing about it. The man at the same moment tells the miss that this is not so, and he understands her situation, and it will not be difficult for him to accept her conditions. The girl thinks that this is great, after which she asks if he is really satisfied with the amount she offered. Her interlocutor replies that this company belonged to his family, and he considers it his duty to help it continue to prosper. After which, the lady exchanges glances with the maid and then winks at her, quite imperceptibly. The girl also says that she is so grateful for his generosity and understands that since he gave in to her, she must reward him for it. Alice claims that in return, she will pay a hefty sum in cash, and the man says of course, and that's just great. The woman also says she plans to keep James's staff the same and would like to meet with the company's employees soon. The man claims he has already told the management about the merger, and the main character says that they will send the rest of the documents through a lawyer. After which, she comes up to shake his hand, and the Marquis immediately rises from his seat and also says that he is happy with the deal. The main character remembers their first meeting and seeing how he changed Cyan. She understands that she will definitely succeed, so that no one would dare treat her like a nobody again. She would be able to stand firmly on her own 2 feet, even without the name of Duke Rumiester or His Highness. After meeting with the Marquis, the lady had even more work to do. The Janes building was reevaluated, and a new corporate value was established for the company. They then hired a personal lawyer and reviewed all the merger documents, and then met with Marquis Black's lawyer and completed all the matters related to the transfer of the business. And so the merger between Janes and Lavia Bell was complete. A week later, the girl was already sitting in front of the employees, claiming to be pleased to have met them. They immediately bow, and the lady offers to tell them how responsibilities are distributed in the Janes firm. Her interlocutor replies that, to be honest, there is no clear distribution, and if some work appears, it is entrusted to someone who is not busy. She understands that the work is being distributed in their own order, and one cannot expect any structure or professionalism. Then the lady understands that everything needs to be corrected step by step, and says that it is necessary to introduce a distribution of responsibilities. Alice also says that their store is going to conduct business using a new method, and the man asks how this is possible. Alice states that she understands that they might find this wrong, so she has prepared the documents and asks if they want to look at them. The girl also says that, in short, they are going to organize departments, and at first, they will separate the office sales department and the management department. The sales department will deal with products, prices, retail outlets, and distribution of goods. The management department will handle HR and finance. One of the men asks how the lady plans to assign employees. After which, the girl replies that she will create a round-robin system and, to begin with, assign 2 people to each department, and then they will be able to choose where they like to work best. One of them claims that the round-robin system sounds good, but until now they've been working in a haphazard manner and haven't been able to find something that works for everyone. The lady also asks who handled the company's accounting, and one of the girls replies that it was her. And then the girl asks her to continue to deal with finances, and they will talk to her separately later. Her interlocutor asks if there is any problem, and the main character replies that she will be honest with her, and that the income and expense books were kept differently, so it was difficult for her to understand what was what. She thinks that the reporting system should be changed, after which the girl apologizes. The main character says that she shouldn't apologize for this because there are things that need to be improved, but she understands. After all, there was no specific structure there, and she is going to introduce a new system of work, so she will need their help, and the lady asks them about it. At that moment, the workers declared themselves happy to work for her. A short time later, the girl said goodbye to everyone and sat down on the sofa. The lady sighs heavily, realizing how quickly the days have been flying by lately. She stretches her arms, and a short time later, she meets with the workers again. The girl thanks them all for the offer and suggests finishing for today. Well, at that very moment, one of them turns to the lady and claims that he held the position of manager, but to be honest, he was treated as the property of the company. And today, she was able to share her opinion so freely that he felt joy from the work and sincerely wants to work together. Someone else says that's true because a lot needs to be changed, but it feels like things will get better. Another employee says they'll try to fill in the gaps. The protagonist thanks them for their enthusiastic attitude and asks if they're aware that she's begun expanding her network. She encourages them to carefully review the documents, and she encourages them to share their opinions from now on. To which they agree, and a little while later, the girl realizes that she thinks she has met good people. A little while later, the main character says that she has arrived, and the maid immediately happily addresses the miss. She asks if the lady met with the Jane staff today, and she's such a good girl. The lady replies that, fortunately, they turned out to be good people. Her companion said it was great, and she was curious about who these people were. The main character then also inquired about how things were going at the store. The maid replies that there are many more customers now and that Celine and Aji are doing a great job with consultations, so everything is going smoothly. The main character thanks the girl and claims that, thanks to her, she was able to focus on the process of merging the companies. Her interlocutor claims that she can now protect the lady and asks her to trust her. After this, Alice just smiles and says how important Neri is, and the two start laughing. At this time, the girl notices something else and says that Neri has gotten the hang of it because she has already come out with such beautiful flowers. The maid then thanks her mistress and claims that it seems to be working better, and next time she wants to embroider a flower field. Alice says that when it's ready, she offers to decorate their house with it. At the same moment, the girl also feels weakness in her shoulders and asks the maid if the miss has a shoulder ache. She immediately approaches her and says that she will massage her, but the main character says that she is no longer her servant. Neri replies that even though she is not a maid, she can give a massage, and even if she refuses them, she wants to help Miss at least a little. The main character then thanks her, and the maid claims that the most important thing is that she wants to show her best side in front of her boss. Alice claims that she risks constantly showing off her best side and giving her massages. Neri says she'll have to pay her overtime then. The girl says she's starting to understand what overtime is, but she just tells the lady she's joking. The main character says that she wishes that in the future there would be many days like today. The maid asks what she's talking about, and the girl asks if she can count on luck to be on her side in the future. Such thoughts suddenly came to her mind, and her interlocutor asked if the Libyan would allow her to do something. After which, she hugs her mistress and insists that she doesn't think it's all luck. Perhaps a little introduction helped, but she achieved everything herself, and that's a fact. Well, the main character says that everything can collapse, after which the maid claims that she coped and overcame even those difficulties that she encountered along the way. And then, even if she fails, what's the big deal? After all, she is next to the lady, and together they will shake off all the troubles and get up and move on. The main character then smiles and claims that this is true because she was able to overcome all this, because Neri was next to her. After which she goes on to say how wonderful it is to have her. But the maid says the lady should know that she will meet a handsome man and marry him. No matter how dear she is to the mistress, she will have to let her go someday. The main character replies that she thinks Neri will marry a worthy man. The next day, the girl hands the maid a letter and tells her to look at it. Neri asks what it is, after which the main character says that it is a pay stub, and she already received one like that last time. The girl then thanks Mrs. Atta and realizes that in her past life, she always looked forward to payday, and now she gives it to him herself. Handing out paychecks is also quite enjoyable. Alice says that Neri is great and she worked well, so she added a little. After this, the girl turns to me and says that she doesn't even know if it's normal to receive something like this. The main character says that one must receive an appropriate salary for one's work, no matter how close friends they are. Then the maid asks if she has a salary for Mr. Aji and Miss Celine too. The girl replies that, of course, and she has prepared everything, adding that she has some good bonuses in mind. She wonders how Aji and Celine will react. Then the girl looks at her watch and suggests they hurry up, or they might be late. A little while later, the two look at their receipts, and the main character looks at their faces and wonders if something is wrong. Celine asks the lady if this salary amount is correct, and the main character asks if there are any problems. Aji claims that there is much more than last month, and the girl replies that this is true. Alice claims that this means she gave everything correctly, and now she will explain. The girl shows that this is their standard payment. It is a bonus for the fact that last month there were big sales. Now they have merged with the Jane's company. So soon she will introduce them to the course of events in more detail. They agree, and the girl insists she has one more suggestion. A little while later, someone asks if the lady was talking about a picnic. The girl replies that, yes, it seems they were all too busy with work, and they could close the store for a couple of days, and then the workers would have a short vacation. One of these days, she'd like to go on vacation together. The man then asks if he'd like to go with them. The lady is surprised by this and asks if he really wants to go with her, to which he replies that the lady and the workers have been working so hard, and he thought he could help out as a partner. The girl says that Joanna can handle the picnic preparations, as he's busy. So she doesn't want to burden him with this. Her interlocutor insists that it doesn't bother him at all, and if she needs help, she can ask him any time. The main character thanks him for the offer, and the man claims he has a country house. It's perfect for a summer vacation, and it would be great if people would spend their next vacation with him. The girl asks him what he's talking about, after which her interlocutor claims that the weather there is wonderful, and it would be good to go there with the lady, the main character thinks. Is he really talking? That only the two of them will be in the mansion, and the whole personal invitation is still burdensome for her. The Duke immediately claims that there is no intention there, and it simply seemed to him that nature could inspire her to create new jewelry designs, and the trip could just contribute to this. Alice says that then we can invite Mr. Penson as well, and she thinks that it will be useful for him. The girl also says that he will probably like this idea, and the Duke understands that, as he thought, it is too early to make dates with Miss Harpin. The man then says that of course the lady can invite him, and the main character thanks him, and also states that she thinks the mister will like this idea. The Duke also asks if he can hear a story about a successful merger, to which the lady replies that yes, and next week she is going to introduce a new direction in the company's work. The girl also says that the Duke cooperates with their store, so she prepared some information to share with him. And the man says that the lady even prepared this, and she is always so meticulous in her work, so he will read it. The main character says that she did what she had to, and if there are any questions, then let him contact at any time, after which these two smile at each other. A little while later, they are already walking down the street, and the girl claims that she needs to go to the store in that direction. The Duke asks if she needs the store, after which he takes out his watch and asks if it is already closed. Alice replies that yes, and she has one body that needs to be made without the presence of workers. Then the girl says that she will go, and the man claims that it is already quite late. After which, he offers to take him on a flight. He replies that it's still light. She also tells the Duke to return home, and he wishes the miss to be careful. When the girl leaves, the man remembers how the lady asked if it was possible to invite Mr. Penson again, because she thinks that it would be useful for him. The guy says he wishes she were as cheerful with him. Meanwhile, the main character approaches her store, and when she steps inside, she realizes she needs to get started. The reason she came to the store when the employees were absent was to give each of them a gift. They must have had a hard time with the influx of customers, but they never complained during this time, so she would like to give them a small gift. Miss Celine suits warm yellow shades, so she chooses jewelry for it. The girl understands what's next for Mr. Agee. She'd always thought that color would suit him. And then the lady takes the ruby ring, not realizing she's giving it to Neri. The lady wraps all these gifts and hopes they'll be liked. Then the girl realizes the surprise is ready. A little while later, she is already heading back home from the store. But suddenly she sees someone else in front of her and wonders who it is when she comes closer. He asks if it's really Mr. Agee. The girl asks what he's doing there. The guy replies that he just wanted to give her something, after which he hands the lady a bouquet of flowers. The girl looks at the embarrassed guy and asks if this is really hers. Her interlocutor claims that the lady has done so much for him. So he wanted to thank her and chose flowers that matched her hair color. The main character immediately takes the flowers and thanks him. She also says they're very beautiful and smell delicious. Alice claims she has a gift for him too. The guy asks if that's true, after which she hands him the box. Agee thanks the lady, and the main character asks if he's forgotten about the picnic, to which he replies, no. And then the girl says they'll see each other tomorrow and leaves. The next morning, Neri asks if the mistress is ready. When she looks at Alice, she declares that she is so beautiful, and the main character thanks her. She says that Neri looks good today too. The maid asks if this is true, and at the same moment, someone else comes into the room and claims that the baskets of food are ready. The cook claims that this is their first picnic, so she tried her best and prepared more so that there would be enough for 4 people. She also put some fruit on dessert, and the main character says how great she is because everything is, as always, top-notch. The maid also says that it is simply wonderful, and the girl thanks her and also claims that they will eat everything with pleasure. After this, the cook wishes them a good rest, and the girls announce that they are leaving. A short time later, they're already heading out in a carriage. The maid claims she hasn't been on a picnic in so long. Alice suggests they forget about it and have a good time that day, to which her interlocutor agrees, and a little while later, they arrive at the place. Aji and Celine are already there and greet the two. The protagonist thanks them for coming, after which she turns to the mistress. He claims she wore her gift today, so he thanks her very much. Aji claims he did too, and the main character says she's glad they liked it, after which she suggests they go look for the place. As they continue on, they notice there are so many flowers and it's very beautiful. At this time, Aji notices baskets in the lady's hands, after which he turns to Mrs. and Miss Neri. He also tells them to give him baskets. The main character says it's not hard for them, and the maid also insists everything is fine. But their interlocutor claims that they still look too big and heavy for them, after which he once again offers his help. The main character says that since he says so, she asks him for a favor and immediately thanks the guy. At this time, Celine turns to the lady and asks, "How about having a snack down there?" The girl replies that it's not bad and there's just shade there. When they lay out all the food, they claim that their cook tried very hard. And the maid says that everything looks so appetizing, and the girl claims that there are also fruits there, so let them eat to their heart's content. But then Celine tells the lady that she is an aristocrat, so how can she eat from the same plate with them? Alice says, of course, they can even eat from the same rice cooker. Celine asks what she's talking about, mistress. The main character realizes there's no such word there. The girl claims it means they're colleagues who are on the same path as colleagues. Nothing can stop them from sharing a meal together, so let them not worry and enjoy themselves. The girl also wishes everyone a bon appetit. Meanwhile, the ex-lady is nearby, peacefully drinking a glass of wine. At the same moment, the man notices a group of people sitting nearby. After which, he actually sees Alice there and says, "What a coincidence!" But at that very moment, someone else addresses the Duke. And when he turns around, he asks if that's really Christy. The girl tells him to just look at these flowers and asks if they're really beautiful. The man replies that, yes, it's looking the other way. His future wife asks where he's looking. After which, she sees Alice in that direction and is shocked. The Duke says it's just nice weather there and asks if that's true. After this, the girl simply drops the flowers, and the man asks if she is hungry, after which he offers her a snack. But when she agrees, when she sits down at the table, she only clenches her fists in anger. Meanwhile, the lady's company is eating. The main character is also drinking wine and realizes she hasn't eaten so much in a long time. The lady also pays attention to Aji, and he looks at the lady with a smile on his face, after which the girl also turns to the river and sees a boat and asks if they want to ride on it. Neri says it's a great idea, and the other two agree. A little while later, the boatman asks how many people there are, to which his interlocutor replies that there are 4 of them, and the man says that if they need a rower, they should ask, because for an additional fee he can go with them on the boat. But at that very moment, Aji asserts that he can row. The man asserts. She says it will be difficult without experience and wonders if he can handle it, but the guy insists it's fine and he has a lot of experience. Celine wonders if Mr. Aji has sailed a lot on a boat, to which the guy replies that yes, and it was just a hobby. The main character understands that if he swum so many times, it means he enjoys water activities, but such a hobby is usually reserved for the upper class. Perhaps he is from a wealthy commoner or from a ruined aristocrat. At this time, the maid turns to the miss and then tells her to quickly get into the boat, to which the girl agrees. The owner of the boat says that they should return. Before the hourglass runs out, it's quite deep there, so they should be careful not to fall into the water. After which, Adji announces that they're leaving and begins rowing. Meanwhile, Christy turns to her future husband and suggests he try this, but her interlocutor only becomes angry and wonders if she was ever this beautiful. Rumor has it her business is booming. He also recalls how, not long ago, the lady begged her darling not to leave, but he simply claimed he was tired of her and pushed her away. Then he left, leaving her in tears. The man realizes that she loved him anyway and they could get back together. Christy, seeing the Duke's reaction, becomes angry and asks what he's thinking about. The girl also asks if he's really thinking about that woman, Alice Harpin. The man replies that, frankly, he saw her by chance and was simply surprised to see her there. His companion asks why he only looks at her and whether he really misses her. The Duke then tells Christy to stop acting like an idiot. The lady, shocked, asks what he said and wonders how the Duke can treat her like that. But the man asks what difference it makes to her who he's interested in. She's in no position to tell him what to do. After which, the Duke realizes she's finally shut up, and the lady, with tears in her eyes, asks how he can treat her like that. The woman also tells the Duke that she's always been so afraid he'll start thinking about this lady again and leave her. Her future husband tells her not to cry, as there's no point in them arguing. He also hands the lady a handkerchief and says that if she wants to become his wife, she'll marry him. She must learn to maintain her composure and calm, as befits a lady of high society, to which she agrees. Her companion says, "That's enough for today," and suggests they go back. When he leaves, the girl merely clutches her handkerchief, and she realizes she will never allow Alice Harpin to take her place as Duchess. The protagonist is on a boat at this time and realizes the sun is so warm and the breeze so cool. She also turns to Neri and tells her to just look at how the water sparkles. Her interlocutor replies that she really is like a precious stone. The lady then begins to think about the precious stone, and at that very moment, flowers fall from the tree. The protagonist then points to a flower and asks how they got such a flower pattern. The petals gathered together and formed a pattern, and she thought they had their own beauty and individuality. Celine replied that they did, and the main character asked if they thought it would be nice to use these motifs in the design of a necklace or bracelet. Afterwards, she sees the two smiling and wonders what's going on. Celine claims that even on vacation, the mistress thinks about work. She didn't even notice how she started thinking about it. Neri says that at home, she also constantly sees Miss working. The main character is a little embarrassed by this and insists that's not the issue at all, after which her interlocutor says that Miss should be resting today. The girl realizes that she was suggesting they rest, but she continues to talk about work, and in her past life, she disliked such bosses the most. Adji says he likes it because it's very ladylike. The main character then thanks him but insists she'll still try not to talk about work anymore. At that moment, the lady notices something in the water. And when he turns around, he sees someone's face, after which he screams out that there's a person in the water. Everyone immediately turns around, but there's nothing in the water. Adji claims he doesn't see anything, but the girl insists she just saw a boy there. The maid says that maybe Miss was imagining it, but at that moment, the creature appears again, and the girl screams that it's right there. At that very moment, the boat shudders, and the lady begins to fall into the water. The main character closes her eyes and prepares to fall into the river. At that very moment, Adji grabs her and asks if the mistress is okay, to which the girl replies, yes. Afterwards, she gets ready to return to her seat, and the maid, with tears in her eyes, turns to the missus and says she shouldn't stand because it's dangerous, and asks if she's hurt herself. Alice then apologizes and claims she thought there was a person in the water. Her companion says she was so scared that something might happen to the mistress, and the girl thinks she might have imagined it. Adji says they all seem very scared and suggests they go back. Afterwards, they swim back, and the main character, turning to the spot where she saw the creature, realizes she hadn't just spotted a shape. It was definitely a person. Mythology speaks of sirens who sang songs with beautiful voices and captivated sailors on their ships. So maybe she saw a siren, but the girl doesn't understand why it only appeared in front of her, so she'll have to find out who it is. A little while later, the girl is already sitting in her office, drawing these flower petals. The maid comes to Miss and claims that today is her last day off. Alice replies, That's why she wants to work. After which her interlocutor claims that the mistress is incorrigible. She also asks Miss what to do, since she has a meeting with Duke Rumiester today. The main character remembers that she had made an appointment with him and asks what time it will be, to which her interlocutor replies that the meeting is at lunchtime, and even if she leaves the house right now, the lady will be late. The girl immediately thanks Neri, and her interlocutor understands. Miss only thinks about work and nothing else. Sometimes you have to be interested in other things. The Duke is sitting in the cafe at this time, and when he sees someone come in, he turns around hopefully, but realizes it's not Alice. He thinks it's already the fifth girl, and he's still having no luck. He then wonders if something could have happened, but at that very moment, someone enters the cafe. It turns out to be the main character, and she addresses Duke Rumiester with concern. The person she's talking to says that Miss Rumiester has arrived, and the main character asks if she's very late, then apologizes. And he says he must have been waiting a long time. The man insists it's okay, because he just arrived. And the main character, looking at his mug of tea, realizes he's already drunk it all. She apologizes again and promises it won't happen again. The Duke says the lady is so apologetic that he's actually embarrassed, since he really didn't wait long. Alice says she's usually not late, but she's been busy and hasn't been herself since yesterday. Her interlocutor asks if someone is bothering the lady again, and the girl replies, "That's not the point at all." After which the man says, thank God he's not interested in what could have kept her so busy, and asks if he can ask. The main character tells him what she saw at the lake yesterday, after which her interlocutor says something about what she saw there. It's most likely a water spirit. After listening to her story, he dares to guess it was Nias, who takes the form of a young boy and likes to play pranks on others. Alice realizes that this can't be true, and yet he really did almost play a prank on her. The Duke says it's good that nothing happened to her, because even though he looks like a boy, he's actually dangerous. He's heard that many who saw him either fell into the water and drowned or barely survived. There's no malice in these jokes, but they can lead to trouble, to dire consequences. The main character doesn't think that if Mr. Agi hadn't caught her then, she too could have drowned, but at the same moment, the machine lady is thinking about what she's even thinking about. The girl asks if she can summon things or if spirits can control them. The man replies that this is true, although in their world they are merely low-ranking spirits. The girl then explains how, thanks to him, she learned so many new things. Meanwhile, the Duke turns to Miss Harpin and says he has one request for her, then asks if she will allow him to voice it. The protagonist replies, "Of course," and her interlocutor asks if she can devote just one evening to him. Alice replies, "Of course," and that she should treat him to dinner. The man claims that, frankly, he has an aunt. She's married to Count Malscott. He was quite close to her as children. The protagonist wonders why he suddenly started talking about his aunt, and her interlocutor claims he recently told her about the lady. The protagonist, shocked, asks if he really told her about her, and the Duke replies that he thinks he shouldn't have. Alice realizes she can't ask him what his aunt said about her being divorced, and the girl says that's not the issue. The man insists that his aunt thinks she's amazing, since she conceived and launched her own business and is promoting it so boldly. It's rare to see such people in high society, and that's what she liked. She'd love to meet the lady when the opportunity arises. The girl, surprised, wonders if she really wants to meet her. The Duke insists he'd like to dine with her at Malscott Manor. The girl realizes she's had many visitors from high society, and she's met them several times at receptions, but she hasn't received an invitation to meet in person, and this will be her first outing as a divorcee. The Duke notices the lady's face suddenly turn sad. After which, he turns to Miss Harpin, and when the girl responds, he claims that he does not know whether he can say such a thing, but his aunt has absolutely no prejudices about everything that happened next. The protagonist approaches the Duke with some surprise, and the man insists that judging someone solely by the fact of their divorce isn't very kind to someone who has had a hard time. She's had her share of hardships, but the lady hasn't given up. On the contrary, she started her own business, which speaks volumes about her strong character. The man also says that Miss Harpin is just her, and he respects her for that. Alice, you understand, sometimes she felt like she meant nothing. The girl was so afraid that everything would disappear, but there were those around her who believed in her. Now the lady clenches her fists and then even declares that she will meet with the Duke's aunt. The girl understands that for these people, she will not back down. The man then rejoices and thanks Miss Harpen for her help, and the main character claims that, on the contrary, she is grateful to him for his words and that she will have to sort out the matter of taking over the company in the next few days. The girl also asks if she can choose a convenient date herself and tell him, to which he replies that of course, and let the lady do as she pleases. He then turns to Miss Harpen and says he's prepared a gift for him to celebrate his business expansion. She asks if that's really true, and her interlocutor insists that, in truth, it was Mr. Penson who prepared it. After he opens the gift, the main character looks at the pendant and says, "It's so beautiful." She also notices the shape of the necklace. The man claims it's the shape of the La Vie Belle logo and asks if the woman likes it. The woman, moved, looks at the necklace and replies that, of course, she likes it. Her interlocutor says what a relief it is and claims that he knows that Mr. Penson has entered into a monopoly contract with her, but he wanted to give the lady a gift, so he asked him for a favor. The lady says it's a precious diamond plus Mr. Penson's skill. The girl also claims she did nothing for him, and yet she received such a valuable gift, but her interlocutor insists it's only part of what he wanted. If Miss wants to know what he's capable of, she can contact him any time. Alice says she's even a little embarrassed and asserts that she's already happy, so she'll wear the necklace with gratitude. The Duke, hearing this, only becomes embarrassed, after which he says how good it is that Miss Harpen liked it. Meanwhile, the prince is sitting in his room reading about the merger. He realizes that this is truly a stunning woman. She said that she would soon provide a design for the royal jewelry, and he would finally be able to see it. The man also thinks if there is a way to see each other sooner, and thinks that maybe it's worth making an order. After which he lies down and realizes he needs to order more, as she'll probably like it. The man also asks if anyone is there. Afterwards, the maids enter the room and inquire whether His Highness has been summoned. The man replies that he urgently needs to send a message. One of the ladies, looking at the gentleman's smile, realizes that something good must have happened to him. The next day, someone hands the maid a letter, and the girl wonders if it is from His Highness the Prince. She also tells Miss that the prince sent her a message, and the main character wonders if this is really true. Her interlocutor claims that she was told it was urgent, and the girl thinks maybe he wants to change the time for providing the jewelry design. But when she opens the letter, she smiles and tells Neri that she has good news. A little while later, the prince greets the lady, and the main character also greets him, and also claims that she was told that he wanted to see her. The man says that she arrived quickly, and it's good that the lady is not busy. The girl says that if His Highness calls her, she is ready to come at any time, regardless of her affairs. His Highness says what kind of devotion this is, and this attitude is very different from last time. Alice insists that he believed in her company and helped many people, and in return, she should try to do everything possible. Her interlocutor then says that it looks great and invites the lady to sit down. The main character does just that, after which she claims that he did say that he had some business with her. The man replies that this is true, because his mother, the Empress, is celebrating her birthday very soon. Alice understands that this is a big event. And her interlocutor claims that this is why he would like to order a piece of jewelry that she will wear to the ball that day. Alice understands that the matter is more important than she thought, after which she thanks His Highness for wanting to entrust her with such an important matter. The man says that it is true and this is very important, so he hopes that the girl will do everything possible, but he will repeat it again so that she tries hard. It's her 50th birthday, and he would like to prepare a perfect decoration for his mother without any flaws. After this, Alice takes out a notebook and asks if there are any decorations that she likes. The man replies that his mother has a very developed sense of beauty, and he thinks it would be better if the girl made several types of jewelry so that she could choose. She shouldn't worry about the fee, because he'll pay for everything, no matter what it costs. Alice insists she'll try to come up with a design so the Empress looks her best at the ball. And at the same time, It should emphasize the dignity of the country's ruler's wife. Her interlocutor says this is appropriate and would like to see several different designs. This is quite an important matter, so he believes it will be necessary to consult with him constantly during the process. So the decoration doesn't look too crude and vulgar. Alice then wants to tell him not to worry, but says it's fine and she'll try. The lady understands that this is truly an excellent opportunity, and if all goes well, she will be able to work for the imperial family on a permanent basis. This should be a jewel for the unrivaled figures at state-level celebrations. Simply having a beautiful and attractive design won't do there, so she needs as much information as possible about her personal preferences. The lady wondered if she could find out about the designer who would be making the outfit for Her Majesty. A short time later, she's already heading out in a carriage. The girl realizes that, due to a lack of time, she decided to go there without any warning, and she's curious how the designer will react. This designer has been responsible for the outfits of the members of the imperial family for over 5 years. She possesses an outstanding talent for design, capable of satisfying the discerning tastes of not only the empress but also other members of the imperial family. No matter how beautiful the jewelry is, if it doesn't match the dress, there's no point in it, so it's necessary to make sure that the jewelry matches the outfit perfectly. As the saying goes, strike while the iron is hot, and there's not much time, so it's necessary to quickly analyze the orders to make the work of the craftsman easier. A little while later, the girl arrives at the place and wonders if the workshop of the designer of imperial outfits is really located in such a back alley. It even reminds her of the day she first came to see Mr. Penson, after which, the lady approaches the boutique. The girl realizes he doesn't look all that flashy, but he has a distinct personality. She then goes inside, where one of the employees greets the customers and asks if she has an appointment. The girl replies that she doesn't have an appointment and has come to meet Baroness Dickinson. She then apologizes, but insists that meeting the Baroness is only possible by appointment. The main character thinks that this is true because she arrived without warning, after which the girl thinks what to do. At the same moment, someone else asks Haley what's the matter, and the girl claims that a visitor came without an appointment. The main character thinks how stupid she looks, after which the woman leaves her office. This is a clothing designer for members of the imperial family named Ashley Dickinson. Alice greets the Baroness and states that her name is Alice Harpin. The woman asks if the lady has come for clothes, and she replies that that's not why she came today. After all, she needs to find out some information. A little while later, they are sitting at the table with a cup of tea, and the Baroness asks if Miss Harpin needs her help. The girl replies that yes, she is an experienced designer, and she is not sure that she can please the Empress. Alice claims that she could use the design and color of the dress, as well as the hats that the Empress likes to wear at parties. The woman asks if this is all, to which the lady replies that perhaps it would be nice to know her measurements. Her interlocutor claims that this is quite unusual and the lady is going to make jewelry, so why does she need sizes? The main character replies that the size, thickness, and length of the precious stone should correspond to the figure of the Empress, and it should not be too big or too small. For example, when designing a dress, it is important not only to what extent it is in line with fashion, but also, first of all, to emphasize the figure of the future owner. The woman then says that it's good and she understands, lady. Alice's wife asks if this means she'll help her. The Baroness claims that the order itself is not complicated, and she has seen many such designs. Alice wonders if she will dictate the terms, and the woman asks what will happen to her if she agrees. The main character realizes she expected this, but this woman isn't so simple. The girl claims she'll give her part of the payment, and when she asks how much, the girl says 3 penalties. The woman thinks about it, and the lady realizes that it seems she is not happy with it, but she thinks that this is a pretty good offer. She also understands that she needs to be appeased somehow, and claims that her help will be useful to her more than once in the future. Her interlocutor asks whether the lady is offering long-term cooperation, and the girl replies that if she helps her, and the Empress will be satisfied, then she will be able to supply stones for the imperial family on a permanent basis. And he will pay her 3 penalties for each successful contract. The more she receives, the more the Baroness will earn. The girl understands that this is a royal contract about her interlocutor and asks what the reward promised by the crown prince is. The girl replies that it's 1 billion denits. The woman says that this share is worth a large sum, after which she says, "Okay, Miss Harpin is quite good at persuasion." Then she also says that she wants to know how much time it will take, and the girl understands that she needs to carefully think through all the details. She also says they need about 4 days to get everything ready. The girl says they need to figure out whether the jewelry matches the dress, but she doesn't claim the Baroness is a master of her craft. Therefore, she would like to hear her comments and remarks, and it would also be possible to discuss their further cooperation. The woman then turns to Miss Harpin and says that she still needs to think about her proposal, and she will try to give an answer this evening. A little while later, the main character is sitting in her office and remembers how the lady claimed that her offer was tempting, but she could not give an answer to it now. Alice understands that this agreement will be the most difficult one yet. She's negotiated with Mr. Penson. And the Duke, too, found the terms favorable. And the Marquis of Black, although initially hostile, changed his mind after the Duke's consent. On the other hand, Ashley Dickinson will give an answer only after careful consideration, having calculated everything down to the smallest detail, so you will have to try hard to cooperate with her. The girl also thinks that if she doesn't agree, then she understands that it's better not to think about it now. Alice understands that she spent almost the entire day signing contracts, and there are still many things she wants to do. In the future, she will definitely fulfill all her plans, and she has people who support her. When someone knocks on the door, the lady tells them to come in. The maid enters the room and greets the mistress and asks how things are going. Alice also greets Neri and says there's something they need to discuss. The girl asks what exactly, after which the main character hands her a piece of paper and tells her to read this first. The maid, having read the contents, turned to the lady with admiration, and the main character claims that this is how she began to be responsible for the Empress's precious stones. Neri says that the lady has done a great thing, so she congratulates her. Who would have thought that their company would be involved in imperial affairs, and the main characters do not respond that, come on, since this is the imperial palace, the reward is worthy. The maid asks the mistress to tell her more details, and the main character agrees. After which, she suggests they come downstairs and she'll tell them everything. Then the two head to the living room. When they get there, the protagonist insists that things really weren't easy with Mrs. Dickinson. Her interlocutor says the mistress immediately decided to go to her and no one improvises like her. The protagonist asks if this is praise, but the maid insists she's simply saying the lady has excellent intuition. After all this time, she brings only positive results, and the main character says that it seems that Neri is becoming more and more cunning every day.